Former President Trump. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. A judge in New York City just denying a defense motion to toss out or further delay the first criminal trial of the former president on charges related to hush money allegations. The judge says prosecutors are not to blame for a late release of documents, and the jury selection will begin April 15th.
This is a pure case of voter intimidation and election interference, and it shouldn't be allowed to happen.
The former president telling reporters outside the courtroom he will appeal today's ruling. Earlier, a New York appeals court gave the former president a win on the same day he was set to begin losing assets to cover a $454 million civil fraud judgment against him. He'd been unable to post a bond and needed to cover the amount while appealing, but the appeals court ruling puts that on hold if he posts $175 million within 10 days.
We appreciate and respect the appellate division very much. And we will, I think, do very well in that whole thing. We have a judge who I believe is a crooked judge and a crooked attorney general. Absolutely crooked.
A statement from the New York Attorney General's office says the former president is still facing accountability for what she calls staggering fraud, adding that the judgment in the civil case still stands. Israel's defense minister is in Washington and says he'll deliver a clear message that there's no moral right to stop the war in Gaza until they return all hostages to their homes. He meets tomorrow with the U.S. defense chief, but the prime minister's office canceled a separate delegation's visit after the U.S. did not veto a UN Security Council resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza without making hostage release a condition.
The reason we abstained is because this resolution text did not condemn Hamas.
White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby says it's disappointing in-person talks with Israeli officials were called off. America is listening to Fox News.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Tax Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. This tax season, you get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a new Samsung Galaxy A15 for just $99. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah! Good talk.
Switch to Straight Talk for plans starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. In-store activation on single Silver Unlimited plan or higher required. Family plan discount with 4 lines all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Periods of rain and a couple of thunderstorms, but nothing severe this afternoon. However, there will be some heavy downpours. Could gust 45 to 50 miles per hour, 62 for the high. Then tonight, periods of rain, a couple of rumbles up until about midnight. Gusty winds all night long, 45 for the low. Tuesday, plenty of sunshine, cool day, 55, and a frosty 29 Tuesday night. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
What's your favorite 4-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our 4-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Proper insulation in your home or business can save you money every month. The insulation experts at Koala Insulation of Gateway West in Metro East Illinois deliver efficiency and improved comfort. Big or small, Koala has you covered. Call or text Koala Insulation of Gateway West in Metro East Illinois at 314-756-5661 and find them on Facebook or check out the reviews at koalainsulation.com/gateway-west.
I'm embarrassed to say this. I've been using deodorant on my armpits for 30 years, and anytime I noticed odor anywhere else, I thought I needed another shower, I wasn't clean, or I felt like there was something wrong with me. And then my gynecologist told me about Lumi. It's a whole body deodorant for pits, feet, and privates that controls odor anywhere and everywhere on your body. Since Lumi, I never have to worry about body odor ever again, anywhere on my body. And that reassurance is worth every penny.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 300 and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, free product of your choice, and ships free with code 300. LUMEdeodorant.com, code 300 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I am so sure you're going to love it. Or return it for free. That's LUMEdeodorant.com, code 300 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. LUMEdeodorant.com, code 300.
Download the free Upside app and earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Download the free Upside app now and use promo code GIFT for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's promo code GIFT.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Happy Monday. Welcome to the Annie Fry Show. It's been a very hopping morning in the news world and the political world because Donald Trump has been dealing with two individual court cases today. One of them has to do with the appeal that he wanted to submit on the fraud trial. And we are going to speak with Will Chamberlain. He's a senior counselor at the Article 3 Project at 125 to get his thoughts on the news that has developed from today. What was it, 486 million or something to that effect?
Something like that. It was ridiculous.
$486 million. I heard on Outnumbered today, Sam Bankman-Fried, who defrauded actual people significantly, had like a $200 million bond.
Oh, my gosh.
Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
Sam Bankman-Fried, less than half of what...
Stole money from people.
Yes.
And actually stole money and actually hurt people. Didn't overvalue property and pay it back. Sam Bankman-Fried took that money, and there was a concerted effort to recover the money for the people that were defrauded.
It's like $200 million
Good
was
grief.
his bond.
And he was a big Democrat donor, wasn't he?
I guess that's where the other 286 came from. So the judge came out today and said, you know what, we're going to bring this down to, I think it was 175 million, which is closer to the 100 million that Trump was asking for compared to the outrageous number that Letitia James and her crew had levied for him to pay beforehand. And then he was in court for trying to get the trial that is... Do you guys know that there's a trial that is out there right now that has to do with Stormy Daniels? Can you believe that? I think this is the one that gets talked about the least. But we're talking about it today because we are going to have Will Sharf in studio at about 12:25 for the rest of the hour. He's going to be in here. So everything's fair game with Will. He loves taking your comments. He loves taking your challenges. So please come to the Annie Fry YouTube channel and join us there so that you can have that conversation with us and Will Sharf starting in about 15 minutes from right now. Donald Trump is speaking outside of the courtroom after the ruling came out that the hush money trial with Stormy Daniels would not be delayed, and I believe it'll start April 15th. The jury is being selected now up until April 15th, but that's supposed to continue on as planned. And so Donald Trump came out and is speaking in New York City, and we are going to listen to what Donald Trump has to say. Let's go to it right now.
But this is a pure case of voter intimidation and election interference, and it shouldn't be allowed to happen. This case could have been brought by the DA, but they didn't want to bring it because they said they have no case, and then they bring it anyway. As you know, DA Bragg did not want to bring this case. He was forced into it for outside reasons, and it's a disgrace that it can happen. But this was a case could have been brought 3.5 years ago, and they decide to wait now, just during the election, so that I won't be able to campaign. We'll be appealing this. On the other decision, it will be my honor to post, and we'll post whatever is necessary, whether it be cash or security or bonds. There's a decision we appreciate and respect the appellate division very much. And we will, I think, do very well in that whole thing. We have a judge who I believe is a crooked judge and a crooked attorney general, absolutely crooked. We did nothing wrong at all, 100%, and that was proven, and everybody there said it was proven. All you have to do is read the legal scholars, and you see that it was proven. But we will continue with that, but we appreciate very much the decision of the appellate division. Thank you very much. What's your collateral for the bond? Cash.
So that last question there was, what is the collateral for your bond? And he just turns around and looks at the camera and says, cash. So the $175 million bond, that's the reduction from the 486 or whatever it was prior to. Just unreal that they would levy that against Donald Trump in this case. It's so obvious what they're trying to do here. It's a workable number for him, and it's just an amazingly large number of dollars for somebody like me, maybe also like you. So that was after the first news came out that appeal, that bond would be lessened. And then after that, this is what we're going to go to here next. This is where Donald Trump has just recently come out of the courtroom from finding out that the hush money trial was going to go on as planned. Let's listen into what Donald Trump is saying, and he's still speaking on this right now.
Get right to the former president who's making remarks right now. Let's listen in.
Start before a lot of them come in, which frankly always makes me happy. So a lot of things happened today. This is all about election interference. This is all Biden-run things, meaning Biden and his thugs, because I don't know if he knows he's alive. And it's a shame. It's a shame what's happening to our country. This is election interference. They are doing things that have never been done in this country before. We've never had anything like it, certainly not at this level, but we've really had nothing like it that I've been able to find. It does happen a lot in third world countries, banana republics. If you look at what we just left, you have a case which they're dying to get this thing started. The judge cannot go faster. He wants to get it started so badly. And there's tremendous corruption. You have Pomerantz, Mark Pomerantz. He was Hillary Clinton's lawyer, or Democrat National Committee's lawyer. He worked in Paul Weiss. He walked in and he took over the district attorney's office. Nobody's ever seen anything like that, to prosecute Trump. And then they wouldn't do what he wanted to do, and he goes out and he writes a book. Long before any decisions were made, he writes a book about it. And the book gets published, and everybody's reading his book. And the judge said there's nothing wrong with that. And if you look at Bragg had a fit over that. Bragg said this trial is now dead. We can't do the trial. Well, that was one of the problems, and the judge should have allowed that to happen. And you had other instances like Colangelo. Colangelo is a radical left from the DOJ who was put into the state working with Letitia James, and then was put into the district attorney's office to run the trial against Trump. And that was done by Biden and his thugs also, because they can't win an election because of the borders, because of energy prices, because of inflation, because of Afghanistan, the worst and most embarrassing day in the history of our country. He can't win because of Russia, because of all the problems, because of Ukraine being attacked by Russia. And he can't win because of the October 7th attack of Israel, which he should have never allowed to happen. Would have never happened if I were president. Ukraine would have never been attacked if I was president. And you wouldn't have inflation if I was president. We didn't have inflation. So all of these things, so what they do is they do election interference, which is court cases, and let's try and tie him up, and let's take as much of his money as possible. I respect the appellate division for substantially reducing that ridiculous amount of money that was put on by a corrupt judge named Engoron. He ought to be looked at, seriously looked at, especially what he did with valuations. He's the one, he's a fraudulent valuator, where he values Mar-a-Lago at $18 million, and people say it's worth 50 to 100 times that much, the biggest experts in the business. So he ought to be looked at, and James ought to be looked at, because she tried to get him. She's like the puppet master of the judge. And, you know, our state, this state, is losing tremendous prestige. It's losing its companies. It's losing its people. They're fleeing, and violent crime is flourishing. And we can't have that. We can't have that. No city should have that. And it's happening in other cities, but not with the lawfare. The lawfare that they're doing is incredible. So they could have done this in the case of the trial that we just left, one of the many that are going. Every single one of them is run by Biden and his thugs. It's the only way they think they can get elected. And I think so far it's backfiring, because the people of this country understand it. It's backfiring. But they're being run, and they're running all of these different cases. So ridiculous, the cases. Every one of them is ridiculous. You take a look at any one of them, and you say any one of them, it wouldn't make any difference. This is all weaponization of DOJ and FBI. They raided my house in violation of a thing called the Fourth Amendment. Not allowed to do that. They raided my house in Florida, Mar-a-Lago. No notice, no nothing. They raided it. I can't believe it. Nobody can believe it. And we'll see how that all works out in the end. But it's illegal what they're doing. It's criminal what they're doing. And it's never been done before in this country. You can't have an election in the middle of a political season. We just had Super Tuesday, and we had a Tuesday after a Tuesday already. And we had Louisiana the other day, a couple of days ago, and we won in a record number, the highest number ever recorded. But we're in the middle of an election right now, and we're fighting crooked Joe Biden, who's the worst president in the history of our country, by far, who's let this country go to hell. The borders, millions and millions of people coming in from prisons, from mental institutions. They're terrorists. Many people coming in from prisons and mental institutions. Think of it. And terrorists are coming into our country. And this guy's just letting them come in by the millions. I think we have 15 million people already. People don't say that. I say it. And I'll bet I'm right, too. So we're going through this weaponization of our government to try and knock out somebody's political opponent. And so far, based on the polls, it's not working at all. The people understand it. We have a man who just ruled he'd like the trial to start in 21 days or something. And I don't know how you can have a trial that's going on right in the middle of an election. Not fair. Not fair. It's not fair at all. He knows that, too. He's a Democrat judge. He wants to do that because they're all trying to damage Trump as much as possible. It's having the reverse effect, but maybe someday it won't. I don't know. But it's having the reverse effect. It's a terrible, terrible precedent, a terrible thing to do. They could have started this when I left office. You could have gone back 3 years, more than that. When I left office, all of these things could have been started so we wouldn't be quibbling over starting this week or that week or 2 days or 3 days. It wouldn't have mattered. This thing would have been over 2 years ago. They could have started. They should have never started because there's no case. If you read Andy McCarthy's piece, if you read Jonathan Turley's piece, if you read legal scholars all over the world, they say this DA case is a hoax and it's something that shouldn't have. It's not even a crime. They say there's no crime, and there is no crime. So I just say it's a sad day for this country when you have something like this. And remember the words, should have been started 3 years ago if they were going to start it at all. And then you wouldn't be quibbling over what week it's going to, days. They're quibbling over days and hours. They wouldn't be quibbling at all. They never started it. And you know why they didn't start it? Because they didn't know I'd be running, and they didn't know how well I'd do. And if I were not running, or if I were doing poorly like everyone else has done, because they're all gone, they're all knocked out except for crooked Joe Biden. If I were doing poorly, this wouldn't be happening. None of these trials would have been happening. If I wasn't running, they wouldn't be happening. So it's a sad day in our country in many respects, but the good day is that the appellate division was fair. It's a lot of money still, but the judge is corrupt, in my opinion. He's the most overturned judge. He's been overturned 5 times in this case alone. He ruled against me before he even knew anything about the case. He ruled against me. The whole case was all about damages, and there were no damages. And perhaps you'll get him to tell you about what took place in terms of a settlement negotiation, because those weren't the numbers he was discussing. Those weren't the numbers. It's a disgrace what's happening in our country, and we have to get our country back, and we're going to get our country back. That's what's going to happen. November 5th, I believe, will be the most important day in the history of our country. We'll get these people out of there, and we'll seal up the borders, and we'll, as I say, drill, baby, drill. We'll be drilling. We'll get energy costs down. We'll get rid of the ridiculous electric car mandate, so nobody's ever heard of anything so foolish and so stupid. And we'll bring crime back to law and order. We're going to get those words law and order back, because our cities are a disaster. Greatly respect the decision of the appellate division, and we will abide by that. We'll put up cash or bond very quickly, securities, cash or bond, whatever it is. We'll put it up very quickly, and we'll win the case. Todd, maybe I'll have Todd say a couple of words, and then I'll have any questions or anything you want to ask. Okay, Todd, wherever you may be, please.
Thank you, President Trump. So, as we said in court today, we very much believe that starting this trial in April, or even starting this trial at any point before the election, is completely unfair to President Trump. It's completely unfair to the American people who are evaluating who they want to be the next president. And we are going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to do everything that we can to defend President Trump in that courtroom. And like we said today, we believe that we have a tremendous amount of information now in our hands to help us do that. And in any event, we certainly feel as if the date that Judge Merchan held today, April 15th, is not a date we should go to trial, and we're going to continue to fight.
And if you read the Andy McCarthy article, or Jonathan Turley, or many of the legals, I think almost every single one of them, that's not even a crime. We're being tried for something that's not even a crime. They say at most it's a misdemeanor, but there's no misdemeanor either. So we have violent criminals that are murdering people, killing people. We have drug dealers all over the place, and they go free and they can do whatever they want. But they go after Trump when there's not even a crime. And did you see the number of people were there? You had Colangelo, and behind him, and remember this, Colangelo was a DOJ guy. He's a Biden DOJ guy. Why is he in the Manhattan DA's office trying the case? That in itself is a conflict. He's in the Manhattan DA's office trying the case. I mean, that's called a conflict. And then remember what I told you also, Mark Pomerantz, when Bragg heard about it, he went openly hostile. He said, that's one of the worst things I've heard, and you all covered that. Then all of a sudden, time goes by. You know, the great healer is time. Time goes by, and all of a sudden they forget that. But that's a terrible thing. Colangelo and Pomerantz, terrible thing. And the judge didn't want to rule on that. He said everything was fine, that what they did was fine. I don't think it's fine when they take a Hillary Clinton lawyer and put him in to prosecute me. I don't think that's fine. I think it's very bad. And he does it on the House. He does it without fee. I don't want any fee. I don't want any fee. Our country has gone down a long way. Cliff, would you like to say something?
Just simply, we're gratified by the appellate division's decision today, which shows that there still is a rule of law in New York and that the appellate division is following it. Thank you, sir.
So do you think can you get an acquittal in this trial, in the Merchan trial?
Well, I shouldn't have a trial. This is not a trial. This is not an act of criminality.
But you are having one, so do you?
I don't know if we're having one. We're going to be appealing right now. I can tell you that. We did nothing wrong, just like I did nothing wrong in the other case. My statements, my financial statements, were conservative. They were low, not high. I mean, he valued Mar-a-Lago at a tiny fraction of what it is. He's the fraud. He created a fraud in order to help his narrative and her narrative, because he does whatever she wants. And the judge is really, what he's done is fraudulent. He made Mar-a-Lago, you know it very well, Maggie. He made Mar-a-Lago into $18 million. I had many offers. They said, I'll give you 19. okay? You could take half of the living room is worth more than that. So it's worth anywhere from 50 to 100 times that amount, and he stays with it. So he's either whacked out or dishonest, one or the other, or both, probably both. But he's a disgrace to the system, and I think that New York State was helped a lot today by the decision. I'll give you an example. Truth Social is doing very well. It's hot as a pistol and doing great, and it's going public. And the New York Stock Exchange wants to have us badly. And I told them, we can't do the New York Stock Exchange. You treated too badly in New York. We don't want to do the New York Stock Exchange. And the people at the Stock Exchange are very, very upset about it. The top person is mortified, can't believe it. He said, I'm losing business because of New York, because people don't want to be in New York and they don't want to go to the New York Stock Exchange. So you can ask them about it. But, you know, how can you do that? I'd love to go on the New York Stock Exchange. It was always, you know, it would be a big thing to go on the New York Stock Exchange. That would be nice. But people aren't going on the New York Stock Exchange now because of what's happening in New York, because they don't want to be attacked by a thug like this horrible Attorney General that we have in New York, the worst in the whole country. So we'll decide about Truth Social and what we do with it. But there's just an example of how this is hurting New York and New York State. Yeah.
Mr. President, can you give us a little bit more detail about the timing of when you plan to secure the bond and how exactly you're planning to pay the bond?
Well, as I say, I have a lot of cash. You know I do because you looked at my statements. I mean, you've been examining my statements for a long time, and I have much more than that in cash. But I would also like to be able to use some of my cash to get elected. They don't want me to use my cash to get elected. They don't want that. They don't want me taking cash out to use it for the campaign. Then they looked at it, and this judge looked at it, and he's part of the whole deal. And, well, he's such a disgrace for this city. Again, the most overturned judge. There's never been that we can find a case where a judge has been overturned now 5 times. It was 4 times, now it's 5 times. Been overturned. But I have a lot of cash and a great company. I mean, to think they want to go after a company. This is a great company, a company that's doing very well. I've got very low debt on buildings, like this building. I have very low debt on this building. Most buildings I have no debt. Most clubs I have no debt. Look at my greatest assets, I have no debt. I didn't even include like brand value. And the brand value is, I became president because of the brand, let's say. But the brand value is, it's one of the most valuable brand values. So I think I wouldn't swap it for any other brand in the world. Trump. I don't even put anything down for it. I had very conservative statements. And the way they made him look bad is by valuing Mar-a-Lago at $18 million instead of what the real value is, which was at least 50 to maybe 100 times more. Think of that. This is the fraud. They're creating a fraud, and they're hurting the state so badly. And then I can't go into the New York Stock Exchange because I can't do business, because I don't want to do, not because I can't, because I don't want to do business in New York. And the people at the New York Stock Exchange, I can tell you right now, and they're very fine people, they're not happy. Yeah, you were going to say something.
Mr. President, you mentioned the cash you had. You said on Friday it was something like $500 million. You intended to put some of that into the campaign. Now that the bond's been reduced, are you going to start putting money into your campaign? You haven't done that since 2016.
Well, first of all, it's none of your business, I mean, frankly. But I might do that. I have the option. But if I have to spend $500 million on a bond, I wouldn't have that option. I'd have to start selling things. I don't have to sell anything because it's a phenomenal company. Look, I built a phenomenal company. Someday they'll actually report that. I built a phenomenal company that's very low leverage, unbelievably low leverage, with a lot of cash, a lot of everything else. Why should I let a crooked judge make a decision to give $450 million that allows me to spend very little money on my campaign if I so choose? I'll be spending money on my campaign. I might spend a lot of money on my campaign, but I should have that option. A crooked judge shouldn't say, we're going to have you post a bond and take all of that money that I could be spending on a campaign or other things if I want to do other things. So we were gratified by the professionalism of the opinion today. I thought it was I think it's a very important opinion for New York, but the only thing that's going to really solve that problem is when I win, because you're going to have to win. Because no company is going to be coming to New York if I don't win that case. That case is a scam, it's a sham, and it's a hoax.
How does this solve that problem?
Would you ever accept money from a foreign government to pay the bond or your fine
surveillance or?
No, I don't do that. I think you'd be allowed to, possibly. I don't know. I mean, if you go borrow from a big bank, many of the banks are outside of this. As you know, the biggest banks, frankly, are outside of our country. So you could do that, but I don't need to borrow money. I have a lot of money. I built a great company, but I don't want to have a crooked judge named Engoron and a crooked, horrible, the worst, I would say without question, Attorney General in the country, the most obnoxious and the worst Attorney General in the whole country. And she did it for political reasons. Go back and take a look at her ads. We will stop Trump. Well, she knows nothing about me. I never heard of her. She was advertising, and she took ads in saying, we will stop Trump. We will stop him, stop him. Vicious. I said, boy, that's a bad one. Then I looked, she got elected. But then she tried to do it with the governor, and it didn't work. She went after the current governor, who's much more talented than she is. She went after the current governor. She was very nasty. And she polled at about 3%. She polled at nothing, and after 6 weeks or 7 weeks, she pulled out of the race. She ran for governor, on what she was doing to me. She thought that would work. It didn't work. I just think that it's very important that, this is a time when businesses have a choice to go to a lot of places, including other countries. They don't have to stay in our country, but they can certainly go also to a lot of other states. A lot of people going to Texas, Florida, Tennessee, North Carolina, a lot of South Carolina, and you have a lot of competition. You shouldn't be persecuting people that have done a great job. I paid $300 million approximately over the years in taxes here. $300 million. That's a lot of money. And you're going to lose those people that pay all that money, and you're not even going to have a state anymore. They just won't be able to do it. Yep.
Back to the trial here in 3 weeks. Do you plan to testify, and are you concerned?
Which hearing?
The trial here.
I don't know that you're going to have the trial. I don't know how you can have a trial like this in the middle of an election, a presidential election. And this is a Biden trial. These are all Biden trials because Colangelo worked for Biden. Can you imagine they take a guy out of DOJ and they put him into the Attorney General's office and then into the Manhattan DA's office to go after Trump? These are all Biden trials. So I don't know that you're going to have it. I think we're going to get some court rulings. Yeah, please.
But will you testify if that trial goes forward in 3 weeks?
I would have no problem testifying. I didn't do anything wrong.
And would you be concerned that a conviction, if you are convicted in that trial, could cost you the election, given what Todd said voters are...
Well, it could also make me more popular, because the people know it's a scam. It's a Biden trial. This is a Biden. There is no trial. There's a Biden trial. Colangelo, the man who stood up, had the nerve to actually stand up and take over. He's been sitting in the background for the last year. Today, he went right up front because they figure he buffaloed the whole public and the writers, including you people. He got them buffaloed. They forgot. They didn't,
He's so good.
A little while ago. Time sort of people forget with time. They don't have good memories. I do. They don't have good memories. But Colangelo from the DOJ was put there to go after Trump. And today he stood up and he took over the whole office. He's been running the whole thing. He's been signing the letters. He's been doing things for a long time. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. This is all done by the Democrat Party, and it's all done by Biden and his group. I don't know if it's Biden because I don't know if Biden is even sharp enough. I don't know if Biden knows what's happening. You want to know the truth? Maybe he does. He probably does. But this is all done by Biden and the thugs that work for Biden. And it's a very bad thing. It's a very dangerous thing for our country. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
All right. That is quite, what was that, 20 minutes or so? 15 minutes? It was a while.
Every bit of that.
And in that process, we've managed to acquire Will Sharf, and we're just going to take this for another 10 minutes or so with Will Sharf, who is a former federal prosecutor for the Eastern District of Missouri, also one of Donald Trump's attorneys. He's a candidate for Missouri Attorney General, in here for the rest of the hour to react to the news so far today with Donald Trump's legal concerns and also whatever other questions you might have. Join us on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. If you want clarifications, I have so many questions. I'm not a legal expert. Everybody already knows that. Will, welcome to the show. Good to have you back.
Great to be with you guys, as always.
What was I'm going to let you just give me your general reaction of what took place this morning with the bond posting coming down from 480-something to 170-something. That's a dramatic decrease. Donald Trump said his collateral on posting that is cash. He didn't seem worried about that number. And then the second trial, which is the hush money case with Stormy freaking Daniels in the news again. staying on schedule, not being postponed past April 8th or 15th.
Yeah, look, it was a big day for us. We were staring down the barrel of the gun with this outrageous, essentially $500 million bond obligation that they were going to make us post just to have President Trump have the right to appeal this insane New York judgment against him. This morning, the New York Appellate Division ruled that we weren't going to have to post that bond. They stayed execution of the judgment. Tish James isn't going to be able to go around trying to take over Trump Tower or anything like that anytime soon. We're going to post this bond, and then we're going to get to the hard business of appealing this outrageous case. And I think our grounds for appeal are really, really strong. So we're looking forward to the pathway ahead on that front. In terms of this so-called hush money trial, which is actually a totally bogus business records trial under New York law, it looks like we're going to go to trial on that next month. I think April 15th is the date. I'll be out in New York supporting the team for that. But we feel really, really good about that case. At the end of the day, this is a case that relies on the testimony of Michael Cohen, who's a man who's been found, to be a perjurer by basically every court he's appeared in front of in recent years. This is a very, very weak case. Legal commentators said from the start this was the weakest by far of all the prosecutions against President Trump. The case should never have been brought to begin with. But we're going to take it to trial, and I have a lot of confidence in the arguments we're going to bring to bear.
So for this portion of the conversation, we'll take a break, and then I'm going to get into some more theories and thoughts on the broader outlook for President Trump as he's running for re-election. For the hush money case, can you tell me what he's being accused of right now that is so important that we're bringing it up in 2024? Like, when did the alleged crime occur? What was the crime? And why is it being dealt with here in the spring of an election year for his re-election?
Yeah, it's funny. They call it a hush money case, but the case isn't actually about hush money. What happened is that in the lead up to the 2016 election, in October of 2016, Michael Cohen paid money to Stormy Daniels to essentially buy her story. Later, President Trump, Michael Cohen was one of his lawyers, continued paying Michael Cohen legal retainer after he was in office as president to handle personal legal affairs for him. Those expenses were correctly booked in President Trump's personal business records as being a legal retainer, as being legal expenses. Those are payments to his own lawyer. Michael Cohen has since alleged that some of those payments were paying him back for the money that he paid to Stormy Daniels. And Alvin Bragg, this far-left Soros-funded DA in New York, has claimed that, therefore, these business records entries were fraudulent under a New York business records law. I think this case is extraordinarily weak. What they're saying is that President Trump recording payments in his own books to his lawyer as legal payments is somehow a fraud, and it just doesn't really make any sense. In addition to that, they're saying that because these records were being made allegedly in some way to cover up payments that should have been campaign expenses, that constitutes a felony under New York law. Now, in terms of the campaign finance angle, both the FEC and the Biden Department of Justice declined to take any action, declined to prosecute President Trump on exactly that theory. So what you have here is a radical leftist DA who's stringing together the most absurd case imaginable. And it's all part of this radical campaign of election interference against President Trump. They want him to be sitting in a New York courtroom instead of being out campaigning for president. And to me, that's just an outrageous abuse of our legal system.
We're speaking with Will Sharf here in studio as one of Donald Trump's lawyers, specifically mostly working on the immunity case. Is that correct?
We're the appellate team, so we're handling just about everything at this point. But
just talk to me like I'm a kindergartner, which should probably that's the entry level that I have here. Why is it? Because this doesn't make sense to me as somebody who's on the outside of the legal system looking in. Why is it that in all of these different places, these charges that are being thrown against Donald Trump, they're all stretches of charges? And I don't feel like if you compare, I'm just going to say, I don't think Donald Trump has never made a mistake in his life, because if somebody wanted to investigate me, they'd inform me of a crime that I committed that I didn't know I committed. I think they can find the crime if they've already identified the criminal. But why is it that in all of these different cases, they can stretch these charges out to make them so punitive, like the $486 million bond in New York and the circus going on in Fulton County, Georgia, and then go to appeal, and then everything's kind of righted. It seems like it's very punitive to Donald Trump to put him through the cost and the time expense to go through the circus in order to get to the more common sense appellate court.
Yeah, look, I think that President Trump hasn't committed any crime. So for them to indict him, they've had to build these absurd legal theories to drag him into court. And I think to the modern left, the pain is the point. Forcing him to go through this process, forcing him to spend money and resources on his legal defense. That's why they're doing all of this. When he says it's a massive election interference conspiracy, I think President Trump's absolutely right. It's worth noting that the key guy in Alvin Bragg's office, in the New York DA's office, who's pushing this prosecution, as President Trump just said a few minutes ago, is Matthew Colangelo. Colangelo was also the guy who started the civil investigation in New York Attorney General Letitia James's office into President Trump and into the Trump Organization. He was also briefly the number 3 in the Biden Department of Justice, a very senior level official in the Biden administration. So all of these cases are connected. They're not happening in a vacuum. And when President Trump says that this is just a big election interference conspiracy, I think he's right. If he weren't running for president, I firmly believe that none of these cases would have been brought in the first place. And that's why it's so outrageous what they're doing to him.
Well, okay, so I want to take a quick break. We've got Will Sharf here in studio with us, one of Donald Trump's attorneys. He's also candidate for Missouri Attorney General here in the state of Missouri. He's a former federal prosecutor as well for the Eastern District of Missouri. And I'm going to ask him your questions along with a list of ones that I have written down here on my notebook. I have so many. So if you want clarification on something, if you have heard people saying one thing about the legal issues, or if you want to challenge something Will has said, Will, you're always up for the people who want to call you out and say, no, you're always ready to fire back.
Always happy to.
Like a true lawyer. Let us know on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back here in studio with reaction to Donald Trump's pretty decent legal morning so far in just a minute. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Keep the air you're paying to heat where it should be with 15% off attic insulation. For a free estimate on attic insulation, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The IRS definitely ramped up operations since the pandemic slowed them down, and activity only increases from here. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. If you're currently under audit or you haven't paid your taxes in the past, now's the time to call the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS has a published Taxpayer Bill of Rights, which says you have the right to retain legal representation, because IRS problems are legal problems, and the Lance Story Law Firm focuses specifically on addressing IRS issues for our clients. It's all we do. We get out in front of the IRS, devise the best resolution plan, and work to make sure you're able to take advantage of every program you're qualified to receive. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure company, call the Lance Story Law Firm. We're local, located right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a truck accident, you need the best. Onder Law. Let us make your case our cause. Truck accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
Let's talk garage doors. Your garage door. Is it too loud? Or letting cold or hot air in around the frame? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis will make it all better. In March only, they will perform their full 26-task garage door tune-up for just $79 and just in March. That's just $79 for up to 3 garage doors and openers. You need this done once a year, so why not now? And for just $79. Schedule now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: is there a policy of your affiliated political party that you completely disagree with? Yes or no? Now, this is a different take on the one that we had. We were asking if there was anything that you agreed with the opposing political party. We're asking now, do you disagree with anything that your party does? The poll can be found on Annie's YouTube page, youtube.com/@AnnieFry. And go there to vote. Leave us a message. Tell us why you voted the way you voted and what the policy is that you disagree with. The time right now is 12:45. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
We're here to help you get registered to vote, whether you're in Missouri or Illinois. Democracy 2024 on 97.1 FM Talk. If you need help getting registered, go to 971talk.com/vote.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. It's been quite a morning so far with Donald Trump and his legal situation, and I want you to know that we've got Will Sharf here to react to all of it. Will Chamberlain's going to be with us at 1:25. We're going to dig more into the bond situation with Will Chamberlain and the Article 3 project at 1:25. But I've been fielding your questions, and I've got several of mine for Will here, who is one of Donald Trump's attorneys, also candidate for Missouri Attorney General, former federal prosecutor. Will, we were talking in the break a little bit about some of the other cases that Donald Trump faces right now, and I'd like to take a stop in Fulton County, Georgia, but not for too long. The Fani Willis ruling by the judge and him coming in saying that she can stay on the case. I kind of feel like, based on the reaction I was getting from much smarter legal people than me, that they didn't think there was any way that she could still stay on this case. But then here she is still on the case. Nathan Wade bounced. What was your reaction to what that judge said about that trial?
Yeah, look, we wanted her to be disqualified, obviously. We're going to take that issue up on appeal now, and I think we're going to win on appeal. But if you just read Judge McAfee's opinion, where he said that essentially Wade had to go but Fani could stay, he's absolutely vicious to her. He excoriates her for her conduct during the trial. He notes it on numerous occasions that he found her testimony to be not credible. I mean, this was a devastating opinion for Fani Willis and a huge victory for the defense there. So we're going to continue trying to get her disqualified. In the meantime, trial proceedings are continuing. But we feel very good about that case. You know, this is a case that when it was first announced, the media treated it sort of breathlessly and said this would be the one that would finally take down President Trump. You know, well, oops, it turns out that if you have incompetent prosecutors bringing baseless charges against a couple dozen defendants, things don't go well for you in court. And that's what we're seeing in all these cases. It's just case after case after case falling apart under the weight of what they're trying to do here, which is bringing baseless allegations against President Trump as a way of interfering with his ability to run for president.
So, again, every time we talk about these different trials, and when you come in here, maybe news is hit in any one of these different places. This morning it was the hush money trial, where that trial will begin in April 15th. So about a month, less than a month from right now. The bond that needed to be posted by Donald Trump has been drastically reduced. He can post it with cash, so he's good there. But again, everything is timing, it seems like, because if Donald Trump goes into November and he has the poll numbers that he looks like he has right now, it seems like there's some resolve around every single time the justice system or the injustice system, as it is right now, throws everything in the kitchen sink at Donald Trump. and then it goes to appeal, and it gets the bond gets reduced. The appeal goes through. Something gets thrown out. It seems like as long as Trump continues to pursue this, he's stacking up some wins. And politically, when they go all in at the beginning and then have to retract so much, it really does solidify in many people's mind the idea that there is a lawfare taking place, or that every single time, I mean, within the first 10 words that Donald Trump says when he walks out to a microphone after one of these court cases, election interference. What is the timeline in your mind? Which cases are you thinking are going to see their natural conclusion before the election?
Yeah, look, I think that a vast majority of the American people at this point see this campaign for what it is, which is a campaign of lawfare aimed ultimately at interfering with the 2024 election. When we were first brought on last August, it really did look like President Trump was going to spend the year of 2024 in courtroom after courtroom after courtroom, that the federal trials might go. You had Georgia, you had New York, you had all of these trials just queued up to go. What we've done since then is just insist that President Trump be treated like any other defendant, that he have all the defenses available to him. We've made some good arguments. We've entered some strong motions in a lot of these cases. And as a result, you're seeing the timeline get pushed further and further back. You're seeing these cases collapse under their own weight just because of how baseless most of them are. And I think President Trump, as a result, is going to have a fair opportunity to run for president, and I think he's going to win. I think the American people see this whole process as just a total perversion of our system of law and order, of our courts, of the rule of law. And that doesn't reflect well on Joe Biden and his sort of gang of insiders who have brought this series of prosecutions against President Trump.
When Trump says election interference, is that a political point? Is that a theory? Is there any actual crime being alleged with the phrase election interference and his constant repetition of that?
Yeah, I mean, look, there are criminal statutes that some have argued might be applicable here. I think his point is a broader one, though. I mean, he's said repeatedly that the Biden folks had the opportunity to bring these cases years ago. They didn't until they knew that he was going to run for president again. The reason these cases were brought is that President Trump is the leading candidate for president of the United States of America. And because they don't think they can beat him at the ballot box, instead they've tried to kick him off the ballot. They're trying to throw him in prison.
I forgot about that major L.
Yeah, I mean, we heard constantly from the leftist media that Trump was an insurrectionist and he's not going to be on the ballot. We got up to the Supreme Court and we won 9-0. I mean, it's just over and over and over again with these people. They will do anything to interfere with President Trump's ability to run for president and to be our next president. And that's just, it's not the way these things are supposed to work.
Quick Rick says, I don't know if the libs realize it, but they are interfering with the election, as it turns out, in a good way, which is kind of an ironic way of putting it.
I think they've revealed to the American people how unprincipled they are, that they don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about the rule of law. The only thing the modern left cares about is advancing the cause of leftism. And they're willing to run roughshod over the Constitution and every principle we as Americans hold dear if it gets them closer to that goal. And in this case, they need to take out President Trump because he's a real threat to the ability of the modern left to turn this place into a leftist socialist dystopia.
I know that you are on Donald Trump's legal team, and that is a very different entity than his political team and his campaign. But I want to pick your brain on this, and you can take this in whatever direction you want. The folks on the left, especially the people on the agenda-driven media networks that we all know and love and don't love, they're very worried that if Donald Trump gets elected again, that he is going to exact revenge on his enemies. And one part of me is like, well, stop doing it to him first. and the other part of it is, I look at what Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and all of the stuff that's coming out and has come out through congressional testimony and through, Hunter Biden's own laptop messages, so on and so forth, whistleblowers that seem to be squeaky clean and have their story straight. What does it look like if Donald Trump gets elected and all of this lawfare has been used against him? You know the man personally.
I think Donald Trump is deeply committed to preserving and protecting America. And when you listen to what he says, his priorities are very clear. We've got to close the border. We've got to get this illegal immigration situation under control. We need to drill, baby, drill. We need cheap energy to get our economy moving again. I mean, President Trump is laser focused on bringing back exactly the kind of prosperity and success we saw in his first administration. And I think all the leftist sort of cries and fears, it's all garbage at the end of the day. President Trump wants to make America great again, and he's dead set on doing that.
Is, in your opinion, of knowing him in a personal way through the work that you're doing through his legal team, is he running for himself? Is Donald Trump running for his own revenge for the lawfare that's been used against him? Or do you believe he's really doing this to make America great again?
I think he's running because he sees the absolute disaster that the Biden administration has been. I mean, he sees an economy that he helped build just turning to mush. He sees the border thrown open after his administration did an incredible job of locking down the border. I mean, these are real, tangible, terrible things that Joe Biden has done. And I think President Trump just knows that he could do a whole lot better, in large part because he already did. I think we see a very clear contrast in the 2024 election between success and failure. We have two people who have served a term as president. The American people are going to get to decide, were they better off under President Trump than they are under Joe Biden? And I think for a vast majority of Americans, the answer is going to be Trump all the way.
Will Sharf in studio with us. Do you trust the election system? I
think we have a lot of work to do there. I think we need to make sure that the kind of shenanigans we saw in 2020 never happen again. We've talked about that on this show before. I think the operation that the Trump campaign, that the RNC is building out, I hope that they're going to be able to do exactly that. But we need to be laser focused on election integrity, especially with a high stakes election like this coming up.
Yeah, I feel like every win that Donald Trump can mount on top of another, on another. And I mean, you and I are just talking about the legal stuff. Set all of that aside. Show me a policy where Joe Biden is winning, and show me a policy where Donald Trump is, articulating where he would be and what he would do and how fast he'd be willing to do it, where I'm going to go, no, I'll take the Biden side of that. Like, there isn't one.
Yeah, look, the two biggest issues, you look at any poll, the two biggest issues on Americans' minds today are the border situation and the economy. And President Trump was a great president on the border and for the economy. Joe Biden has been a terrible president on the border and for the economy. It's the clearest contrast imaginable. America was much, much better off under Trump than it has been under Biden. And I think that's why the American people are going to return him to office. And I don't think it's going to be close. I mean, if you look at the polls today, Trump would win a presidential election if it were held tomorrow by like 320, 330 electoral votes. I mean, we're talking Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada. I mean, just state by state by state. Trump is crushing it right now for very good reason.
I am excited to see what happens next, but I'm also kind of on the edge of my seat. So the next big, I got like 30 seconds. What's the next big thing to happen with Donald Trump's legal situation?
April 15th, we're probably going to trial in New York on the Alvin Bragg case. And then April 25th, we'll be back in front of the U.S. Supreme Court on presidential immunity.
And that's incredibly
That's a
important.
huge one, not just for Trump, for the future of the republic.
Amen. Will Sharf, thanks for being in here with us. We appreciate you.
Great to be with you guys.
He is one of Donald Trump's attorneys. He's also running for Attorney General here in the state of Missouri, a former federal prosecutor right here for the Eastern District of Missouri. Make sure if you didn't hear the whole thing, go to the podcast, listen on the Odyssey app, or you can check the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Let's take a quick break and catch our breath. More Annie Fry Show when we return.
Here's something you won't hear from any other jeweler. Right now, when you buy a diamond at Diamonds Direct, we'll give you a free gold setting for it. Yes, a 14-karat classic solitaire setting in white gold or yellow gold at no charge with any natural diamond purchase. So all your money can go toward a bigger diamond while you still get the classic look she wants in that engagement ring. Another example of Diamonds Direct's extraordinary value. Or if you want to take it up to the next level, Diamonds Direct also has a fantastic selection of halo, pave, vintage, 3-stone, and other popular mountings. Or maybe she wants a designer ring, like the one she's seen on social media. Well, Diamonds Direct has those too. In fact, we are an authorized retailer for all the top designers from New York and California. Whichever setting you choose, you'll also be able to choose your finance plan. Diamonds Direct now has a wide range of finance options with attractive rates and terms up to 60 months, so you can get the ideal setting to fit your style with the ideal payment to fit your budget. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Store hours, directions, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. RAMP.com/free.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
He calls it a major victory. Elisa Brady, Fox News.
Respect the appellate division for substantially reducing that ridiculous amount of money that was put on by a corrupt judge.
Former President Trump, after a New York appeals court ruling giving him 10 days to come up with $175 million instead of more than $450 million while he appeals a civil fraud judgment. Though a different judge denied a motion to delay the first criminal trial against him, a hush money-related case now set to begin April 15th.
It's a sad day in our country in many respects, but the good day is that the appellate division was fair. It's a lot of money still.
He says he can pay the lower amount in cash. The New York Attorney General had been expected to start freezing accounts and seizing assets today. Her office says the former president is still facing accountability for staggering fraud, which he still denies. Israel makes a change in plans after a vote at the UN for a ceasefire in Gaza.
14 members of the UN Security Council voted for a resolution that demands an immediate ceasefire during Ramadan, as well as the release of all hostages in Gaza. A U.S. abstention rather than a veto means the resolution passed. Linda Thomas Greenfield is the U.S. ambassador to the UN.
Still, certain key edits were ignored, including our request to add a condemnation of Hamas. And we did not agree with everything in the resolution. For that reason, we were unfortunately not able to vote yes.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says because the U.S. did not veto this resolution, he's canceling plans to send a delegation of his senior officials to the White House to discuss future military plans.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal, the U.S. urging Israel to consider alternatives to a ground invasion in the city of Rafah. Israel's defense chief, already in Washington on a separate trip, is still scheduled to meet with the U.S. Defense Secretary tomorrow. America is listening to Fox News.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Tax Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. This tax season, you get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a Samsung Galaxy A14 included when you buy an extended Silver Unlimited plan. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah!
Switch to Straight Talk. Find us at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. Taxes and fees apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Periods of rain and a couple of thunderstorms, but nothing severe this afternoon. However, there will be some heavy downpours. Could gust 45 to 50 miles per hour, 62 for the high. Then tonight, periods of rain, a couple of rumbles up until about midnight. Gusty winds all night long, 45 for the low. Tuesday, plenty of sunshine, cool day, 55, and a frosty 29 Tuesday night. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You found 97.1 FM Talk, where we ask questions, even when the legacy media won't. Especially when the legacy media won't.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
97.1 FM Talk.
Just imagine being walked all over for 36 years. Who would do that? The great customers of Reinhold Flooring, that's who. For over 3.5 decades, Reinhold Flooring has been the mecca for carpet, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, and area rugs. Reinhold Flooring is customer-driven with a focus on top-quality products and installations from the best team in the business. So come on in and walk all over your next flooring at Reinhold Flooring. Visit them at 5429 Telegraph Road in St. Louis or online at reinholdflooring.com.
With over 25 years of experience, Mr. Appliance can fix almost any appliance you have, extending its life, saving you time and money. Call Mr. Appliance today to schedule an appointment. Services performed by independently owned and operated franchises and may vary by location.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert. I feel like we should be there by now.
I'm just taking a little detour. I gotta fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're gonna be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes, I use it all the time, and I've made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the concert.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code CHEAP to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code CHEAP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code CHEAP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code CHEAP.
I was afraid to cut the cord, but once I did, I couldn't believe it took so long to do it. Paying too much for my cable bill had become a bad habit. I either wasn't getting what I wanted or never knew where to find any of my favorite shows until it was too late. Plus, the prices just kept going up. Thankfully, I discovered a new way to watch called Philo. For just $25 a month, I can catch all my favorite shows on networks like BET, MTV, and TLC. It even has Nickelodeon for my kids. I can watch anytime I want, anywhere I want. Plus, Philo lets me have up to 3 streams at once, so everyone can watch what they want at the same time. Throw in the unlimited DVR that saves all my favorites for up to a year, and this really is the best deal in TV. I just wish I hadn't waited so long. Sound too good to be true? Well, try it out for yourself, and you'll see why people who love TV love Philo. Go to philo.tv, that's philo.tv, and start your 7-day free trial now.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Just had a great hour of, first off, listening to Donald Trump as he was speaking outside of the courthouse. His hush money trial will continue on. They asked for a delay. The judge said, nope, it's going to commence April 15th. And that was right after they found out it's a $454 million bond that he had originally been levied with. That has been reduced down to $175 million. And he's like, okay, cool. I can handle that. Huh. I mean, in my mind, I can do the same thing, only it's just I'm speaking in hundreds of dollars, not millions of dollars. I think the 486 was like with interest or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
So weird. Big win for Donald Trump. He only has to do $175 million on bond, and Will Sharf feels very confident that they will win that on appeal. Every single one of these developments that, even though, $175 million still seems like ridiculous considering it's a victimless crime. And as I was mentioning earlier in the show, Sam Bankman-Fried in the FTX, is that what it is?
Yes.
Case, he went to jail for defrauding a whole bunch of people. His bond was like $200 million. And there are a few people who would like a chunk of that change back because he defrauded them. But no, Donald Trump originally levied with more than twice that. It's ridiculous. You know it's ridiculous. I know it's ridiculous. And the people who want nothing more than to see Donald Trump fail in November, they know that it's ridiculous too. And the more ridiculous it is, the more that you and I can look at this and not understand what is where up and down meet. Everything is upside down, and all of the systems that we have in place are blurred and subjective instead of objective. And you sit there and you scratch your head and you're like, how can this be? But if every single story that materializes is another head scratcher, then the real head scratching comes when something goes the way it's supposed to. And that's kind of where we have found ourselves here lately. I wanted to talk a little bit about the what's his name? James Carville. He came out and said that the Democrats are going to have a problem with a certain voter that they've done pretty well with before. And when you listen to James Carville explaining who the problem is for Democrats, what the Democrat Party needs to be focusing on, he says it in a way that is a little jarring and probably pretty offensive to the traditional voter there. He's concerned about the black vote. He said it's very correct for them to be worried about the black vote, calling it a big problem for the president. That's Biden. They're very correct to be concerned about this, and the black male, particularly the younger black male, have become disengaged. And it's got to be a priority to how we communicate and re-engage. I saw a whole lot of polling this morning, and it is a problem. And the first step in solving any problem is to acknowledge you have one. We have heard the Republicans, Donald Trump specifically, talking about how the black vote might be shifting away from Democrats. And, I don't know how much of it is being picked up by Republicans. If Republicans think that the absence of a black voter for Joe Biden or for a Democrat means that they're going to show up and vote for Donald Trump, shame on them. They have to go earn every single one of those votes. They have to start articulating to people who think with their own brains, and that is not divided by skin color, much the way that Democrats have for a long time tried to illustrate to the American people, like, this is what you need to do to get the black vote. How incredibly patently offensive is that? Especially when you associate it with things that don't articulate exactly what the black existence in America is today, because there is a wide spectrum for any individual demographic, be it male, be it women, female, be it black, white, Asian, Latino, whatever, Latinx, whatever the heck that is. There are different thinking people in all of those demographics. And when you listen to James Carville speaking about some of the problems that the Democrats have right in front of them, I kind of wonder if on March 25th of an election year, it's too late for them to get the ship all the way turned around. He was speaking with a New York Times columnist here recently, and he said the New York Times reported that Carville, who is a staple in Democrat policies for decades, isn't he the one who said it's the economy, stupid?
Yep.
Very, very successfully, regularly quoted. James Carville railed against his party's pursuit of wokeness, calling it a, quote, giant, stupid argument. Oh. That will lead to more Democrat losses in the future. Fox News reports that Carville, who Dowd described as blithely un-PC, claimed that, quote, no one wants to live according to woke principles and that they are a fast track to conservative political victories. I think that the woke moment that many of us have been living through is potentially meeting its natural end. Now, that's woke as we knew it. I think out of the woke moment, we have the birth of DEI, and we're starting to see the death of it because it's not functional in a capitalistic American society. It's just not functional. You cannot prioritize everything that is race, that is all being done to virtue signal for political power over what is best for your product, your good, your service, your purpose, in whatever it might be here in the United States of America, be it education, be it manufacturing, be it some sort of industrialization or some sort of business entrepreneurial endeavor that you're pursuing and you're trying to compete against really the global stage. When you're force-fed by your overlords in Washington, D.C., all of the things that you will do in order to exist as an entity in the United States of America becomes punitive. Less people are going to do it. You're going to curb manufacturing and industry into a place where all of the people who have been able to comply for so long are all going to be approved by the government overlords, and then manufacturing quickly ends up being controlled by government, and that's socialism. That's the direction that you see the people who are in charge right now. They really want to try to make it so that they own everything. They own production, they own the services, and they will let you participate in as they see fit. That is the long game that is being played here. Who is the epitome of the antithesis of that? The orange man. The guy who will, as I say, burst into the room like the orange Kool-Aid man, and I love it every time he does. And it's not only that he doesn't play their game, he mocks their game. He laughs at their game, and it pulls the curtain back on this entire idea that inequality, which is what they're saying they are going to solve, they are using people who are having less than desirable experiences in the United States of America. They're using those people. They identify them as victims, and they are correct. They are victims of big government. They're not victims of capitalism. They're not victims of Republicans. They're victims of big government. They're victims of Democrats who have come into cities like St. Louis and states like Illinois and employed all of these things so that on the surface and the surface only, they can show you how good they are. They can show you how necessary they are in government, because if you don't have the Democrats in power, look what the Republicans are going to do to you. That's the surface level offer that they have. And because Republicans don't show up and counter anything, a lot of these places just go with it and they roll with it, and they are stuck in their victimization loop that every 2 years, every 4 years, every 6 years becomes like gold to the people who want to stay in government. Why? Because that puts them in power. They are not living in the poverty that they are securing for these locations. They are not living and existing in the crime-ridden crap holes that they create when Democrats don't even have to work to compete against a Republican in an election like here in St. Louis, where you tried to defund police and look at the mayor of St. Louis. And, we're not working on trying to put police everywhere so you can see them all the time so we can restore law and order into St. Louis so that you can feel safe in St. Louis when you're downtown. No, we're working on reparations in St. Louis. That's what we're working on here. Go to Chicago. See what they're doing in Chicago. Brandon Johnson is a buffoon. When you see he's not mad. It's the gun control debate. Now he's in car control. Now he wants to sue the companies who have made cars too easy for his Chicagoans to break into. So he wants to take the problem to the manufacturers. Newsflash, Johnson, they're going to break the windows to get into these vehicles should they not be able to jimmy the lock open or whatever it might be. It is Looney Tune land. You see this stuff, and every time it's jaw-dropping every time, but we're getting to the point where the jaw drop is the huge. The jaw drop is what you expect. If you came out and saw Brandon Johnson of Chicago or the mayor of St. Louis come out tomorrow and say, crime has taken over this city, Criminals think they run St. Louis. Criminals think that they own Chicago. Criminals want to make you unsafe in Chicago. They want to take what you've worked for. They want to take what is rightfully yours. They want to make you and your family scared to be in your homes and be in your cars. They want to make you scared to go to work. And we're done with that. We want to fortify these communities for the people who contribute to them. We want to make these cities safe so that you can participate in commerce, so you can bring your family to a ball game, so you can bring your loved one to a nice steak dinner downtown. When you are in this city, you will be safe, and I will see to it every minute of every day that in this city, you can feel comfortable and secure when you visit here, when you work here, and yes, when you live here. We want to bring people back downtown, and it starts with safety and security. They don't talk like that. They say car break-ins are so rampant that I think what we need to do is go to the car manufacturers. That's in Chicago. Like, that doesn't even acknowledge that there are actual humans that are breaking into vehicles. Maybe if you follow the line here and you follow the path here and you see how they're making it harder and harder to own a home, maybe they're going to try to make it harder and harder to own a car. Maybe they want more people to take public transportation, then they can be in control of who goes where and when and how. And it's all through the system, putting you into the system every single which way that they can. There isn't an entity that big government, democratic, progressive, liberal ideology doesn't want to take from you and control for you, and they will not give it back. Every single one of those freedoms that you enjoy, when you turn it over to the left, you will not get it back. Donald Trump is an affront to every single element of what the far progressive left not has to offer you, but promises to take from you for your own good. That sounds outrageous, but that's really what's going on here. And again, Donald Trump isn't only opposed to it, he mocks it. And it bothers them. It keeps them up at night. They lay in bed at night fantasizing about Donald Trump's demise, and they come up with these outrageous efforts to try to attack the man through lawfare. And then they take him to jurisdictions like the crap hole that is existing in Chicago or Fulton County, Georgia, or the legal injustice system in New York, these places that Democrat policies, these beautiful cities, these wonderful communities that they have come into and destroyed. And they get a court case there. And they're trying to make it so that he can't take power, because if Donald Trump wins in November, it destroys everything. They will have to start from scratch. After this, Donald Trump 2.0 takes office in January of 2025. I mean, there's a part of me on the Annie Fry Show that is just going to sit here behind the mic with my eyebrows raised and watch in 2025, should Donald Trump win and take office. And I mean, I think one after the other, we're going to be able to report Donald Trump did this, Donald Trump did that, and we are not going to be able to keep up with the tears of the people who are watching everything that they've worked so hard to build. It's going to be destroyed. And it all comes down to Donald Trump in November. And I think it's something that there are a lot of people out there right now that would not have wanted it to be Donald Trump in November. Listen, that's who it is. If it's bothered you, time to move on from it. You've got a binary choice here. I know that the left doesn't like binary choices, but it's Biden or Trump. And that choice could not be more clear for the American people and the American voter. You got to show up. Go register someone to vote. Talk to your friends and family. Be open, be kind, be persuasive. Let's talk to Will Chamberlain, senior counsel at Article 3 Project, about the bond trial this morning with Donald Trump when we return.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
The Retirement Advisory Group is inviting you tomorrow night to come join me. I can't wait to see you. Have you gotten your spot yet? Please go give them a call and reserve your spot. Bring a friend, bring your spouse, bring a sister or brother, whatever, and spend 45 minutes with us at the Retirement Advisory Group's Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, March 26th. That's tomorrow. At 6:30 p.m. is when the event starts. I'm going to be there from about 6 to 6:30, say a few words, and hand it over to Thomas Helbig. But if you get there early, I'd love to meet you. Mark Cox and Mark Reardon will be there as well. And they're going to talk to you about how when you are right there on the doorstep of retirement, you need to make some smart decisions with those dollars that you've been saving. And you don't want to miss the boat. You don't want to be fretting about, the market's going up and up and up and up. Is it going to go down, 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 down? Maybe a lot of people remember what happened in 2008. You don't want that to happen to you. Reach out to Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group by calling 314-993-9494 and come. It's free. There are snacks, and I would love to meet you from 6 to 6:30. Mark Cox and Mark Reardon going to be there as well for the Protecting Your Retirement educational event, Tuesday, March 26th at the Frontenac Hilton. Starts at 6:30. I'll be there at 6. More details at retirementkey.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
If you're looking for a senior living community, check out Hampton Manor of Wentzville. Mark Cox here. I just had an opportunity to visit Hampton Manor the other day, and again, what a beautiful spot it is. A brand new building, just had their grand opening. If you take a tour at Hampton Manor, they're going to treat you to lunch, courtesy of their private chef, Chef Scott, and the food out there is absolutely outstanding. It's convenient. Take Interstate 70 to the Lake St. Louis exit. It's about a quarter-mile north. Schedule online today at wentzvilleassistedliving.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Is yours? Did you know that there's an R value associated with insulation? To find out your R value or for a free insulation estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Curtis Houck, he is the managing editor of Newsbusters.
Tom Nichols went on CNN and was like, nobody uses the word bloodbath. It's clear that you're not a sports fan. People talk about it being a bloodbath when coaches get fired, for example.
Weekdays from 3 to 6. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
First of all, on abortion and democracy, these are the two issues where Biden has an advantage. The only two issues where Biden has an advantage in both states. Then you look at other issues, U.S. and world affairs, economy, immigration, Israel, Gaza, Trump has an advantage. And it's actually, if you look at the Israel-Gaza question, the fact that Trump has a 20-point advantage in Michigan, I mean, the world is upside down.
CNN's Dana Bash is, I don't know if she's okay, but the numbers are looking better and better for Donald Trump, and the lawfare that has been employed against Donald Trump seems to be leveling out in numbers as well when it comes to people who are, going to vote differently if he's convicted versus not. Those numbers are starting to level out because I think people are seeing how absolutely ridiculous the injustice system has been against Donald Trump only after he decided he was going to run for president and be, a threat to other people's political power? That might be the case. I want to bring on our next guest. Excited to have Will Chamberlain with us. He's a senior counsel at the Article 3 Project. You can follow him on Twitter at Will Chamberlain. Will, thank you for being here with us today. It's good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I want to give you the opportunity to talk a little bit about your reaction to the $454 million bond coming down to $175 million. And I heard on Outnumbered earlier today that when Sam Bankman-Fried was given a bond, it was like $200 million. So Donald Trump is at least twice as bad as Sam Bankman-Fried in the eyes of this justice system. What do you think about the ruling that brought that number down so significantly today?
I mean, it's better than nothing, right? The bond should have been reduced even more, but will have a significant impact on how easy it is for President Trump to actually get a bond. I think a big part of the problem that his lawyers articulated in their briefs was these bonds of this size are almost unheard of. So normally, to get a bond like this, you don't put up $500 million in cash. Very few people, even billionaires, have that kind of money just laying around doing nothing. They have it in assets. So he was going to need to get a bond, and a $500 million bond is just, but the bond companies aren't used to it, and they don't take real estate as collateral. So, bringing it down to something a little more manageable will make it a lot easier for him to actually get a bond in the first place. I mean, he'll have to put up a lot less cash to get it, which I think is good for President Trump.
Yeah, it's weird to celebrate the win of a $175 million bond that you would have to post in a trial that if you listen to Donald Trump, he says is a sham, it's a witch hunt, and it's election interference. I had to laugh at this from the New York Times today. And it said Donald Trump owes this I think before the ruling came out that lowered it. Donald Trump owes $454 million by Monday or risks losing some properties. But experts say valuing the buildings would be a guessing game. I mean, I try not to let them to take the bait. But that one, I kind of was like, wah! How could you in this same trial? What did you think when you read that notification come through from the New York Times? It's kind of had a light bulb moment.
Yeah, well, it's like they can't keep their story straight here, right? Remember, I mean, the crux of the lawsuit against President Trump by the state of New York was that he inflated the values of his properties and that the proper valuation of Mar-a-Lago Resort was only $20 million when, which is ridiculous in the context of Palm Beach real estate. Mar-a-Lago is an enormous property in one of the most desirable places in the world. It's the only property of its kind in all of Palm Beach, and Palm Beach houses regularly just normal Palm Beach houses go for $30 or $40 million. So the single biggest property in all of Palm Beach with a massive resort, huge history. As Donald Trump said, it would go for 50 to 100 times $18 million in the open market. We're talking, that's $1 billion property, as hard as it may be for them to believe, but it really is that valuable. And the entire crux of New York State's argument was actually it's only worth $20 million and Donald Trump lied. Even though nobody was victimized, but Donald Trump still lied.
I mean, if that's the conclusion you've arrived before you've even seen the details of the story that you're discussing, is that Donald Trump lied, Donald Trump is a criminal. If that's where you need to get to, then it probably gets a little murky when you're going through the details on how to arrive at proving that to people, especially in a court of law. When you have a very complacent media entity, which I think that we've partitioned quite a bit, the mainstream media, as it were, maybe in especially 2016 versus where it is right now. In the court of public opinion, you're able to get away with a lot of these brash and really deceitful statements about values and collusion and all the things we've heard from them for so many years. But the court of actual justice and law, at least after appeal, seems like it starts to get it a little closer to right. What do you think about Donald Trump's the reality of what's going to happen next here on appeal. He can pay it in cash. What do the American people need to know about what the appellate court is going to do with this trial?
I mean, here's the thing. If they were following the law, they should toss the whole thing out, right? They should toss the entire $454 million judgment out and dismiss the case. It's just, it is a crime it is a fraud crime without a victim. And there never was a victim. Nobody ever came and complained. And it's a fraud crime that doesn't make coherent sense, just on the basics of the fact that he was, as New York Times admitted, valuing properties that are whose value is very hard to estimate because they don't go on the open market. They're not like a share of Apple where millions of people are buying one of them every single day. There's only one Mar-a-Lago. It hasn't been on sale in 50 years. And what it's worth is up for debate. And the idea that they would make, the whole thesis of their case that there could be this determination that Trump could put forth a completely fraudulent valuation, and the victims of the frauds would be unbelievably sophisticated New York banks with their own real estate appraisers, right, on staff, getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. We must protect the, Goldman Sachs's and Deutsche's real estate valuation department from the fraudulent actions of Donald. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's the more you talk about it, the more you realize it's a show, and it's a show that really two people were able to conduct: Letitia James and Judge Engoron. Letitia James found a way to bring the case, and Judge Engoron found a way to find Donald Trump liable and try and take his money.
So if one of the outcomes is under appeal, the whole thing gets tossed out. I sensed maybe just a hair of skepticism that you were thinking that would possibly happen. I understand very smart legal people that I talk to regularly say this is what should happen. And it's always the should that makes me go, oh, what else is going to happen? Do you anticipate some sort of middle ground, or what's going to happen?
It's going to depend. The basic problem is that when it comes to Donald Trump, you cannot rely on Democrat judges to do the right thing. They are motivated by external factors and not upholding the law. As a general rule, there are exceptions, and you hope that whichever judges he gets are the exceptions. But Judge Engoron should not have authorized a $454 million judgment in the first place if he were following the law. So you can't reliably say that an appeals judge who feels similarly, might have a similar bias to Judge Engoron, will do the right thing themselves. You hope that the New York justice system really doesn't want to make itself the laughingstock of the nation and lead to have businesses flee en masse because nobody feels like that they can comfortably own assets in New York and not randomly have Letitia James bring down the hammer on them for no reason at all, without them actually victimizing anyone. So it's you hope that they'll do the right thing, but you can't be assured that they will.
Yeah, I agree with that. Will Chamberlain with us right now, senior counsel at the Article 3 Project on Twitter, X at Will Chamberlain, article3project.org if you want to check out more of their work there. So I'd kind of like to, just as a thought exercise, let's take the Trump specific part out of this and the outcome, although it might have some indication of the answer to the question I'm going to ask. But after all is said and done, maybe if Donald Trump ends up winning the election, is there any retribution other than losing an election for Letitia James or for Alvin Bragg or for this judge? Because it does not seem as though what they're participating in is equal justice. It seems very, very politically aggressive. And, all you got to do is listen to their own words to come to that conclusion. Is this just what New York has voted for and this is what they get?
It's a real challenge. Although my colleague, Mike Davis, has some interesting theories about federal laws that ban using your official station for election interference. And so those could be the basis of a kind of criminal prosecution. Now, I think it would certainly be novel. I don't think we've never seen a fact situation like this where you have a state's official law enforcement apparatus decide that they're going to ruin one person before they even figure out if there's ever been a crime been committed. So it's definitely going to be novel. There's not going to be any way to predict what the outcome of such an investigation would be. But certainly they're playing with fire. And what can they really say ultimately if Donald Trump, after becoming president, decides that it's time for lawfare against those who tried to bring him down? It reminds me of what I think the play is A Man for All Seasons, and why the guy talks about how he cut down every law in England to get at the devil. And I think it's Thomas More who turns around and says, and when you turned around and faced the devil, what will you do? have all the laws of England having been cut down. Right? What the Democrats are doing is just eviscerating the rule of law in this country, and it's distressing to see. But also, in the event that Republicans take power, I don't believe in unilateral disarmament. I believe that we should use what power we have to deter future lawfare like this from happening again.
Speaking with Will Chamberlain right now, I want to get your thoughts on Donald Trump as a defendant. Of course, we know what Donald Trump as a candidate looks like, as a president looks like. We know what it looks like when Donald Trump has lost an election in 2020. We've seen what that looked like for the last maybe 2 years after 2020. But as he's resurged, decided he was going to run for office, and then all of this lawfare gets thrown at him, I think it takes quite a ton of resolve to be able to go face this head on, to sit in the courtroom after courtroom after courtroom, to come out and say, yeah, I'm going to pay the bond. I got cash to do it, as he did today. What kind of defendant has Donald Trump been throughout all of this, what seems from the outside looking in very unfair justice being thrown at him?
He's been a unique one, right? Think about if you're a normal criminal defense lawyer and you're representing a normal everyday criminal defendant, your advice to that criminal defendant always would be quiet about the case, right? Do not talk about it. There is nothing good that can come of that. All that can be is admissions that will be used against you later in court. You will make my job harder. Do not talk. That's not an option for Donald Trump. He's running for president of the United States, and he has to talk every day. And also, the cases against him are political, have political dimensions, and so they are a natural thing for him to talk about. Given those constraints, I don't think that I think he's conducted himself reasonably well in what are unique circumstances. And I don't know that there's really anybody you can compare it to in terms of a criminal defendant, because nobody's ever been in this position where they announced they were running for president, are the leading presidential candidate of a party, and then the party's nominee, and are still dealing with just this unprecedented lawfare, 4 criminal prosecutions in 4 different jurisdictions in 4 months. So, I think the right way to think about it is unique. The normal advice that applies to criminal defendants doesn't apply to Donald Trump because he's running for president. And so what is the right answer for how much he should talk about the cases? It's hard to say. It's a unique balancing act where you're balancing the potential harm that can be done in terms of admissions in court versus the benefit, which is the obvious benefit of just talking about what the wrong that's being done to you.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's the same, if it's apples and oranges, but I think about the way particular entities of the media certainly seize upon Donald Trump coming out and, immediately leveling, it's a hoax, it's witch hunt, it's election interference. And he's very aggressively stating his case in front of microphones and cameras at a post-trial hearing, whatever it might be, press conference. But then comparing it to the way a lot of these same people reacted to the overt hostility that Fani Willis presented in that court case, which was, I grew up in the 90s and we'd watch Jenny Jones and we'd watch court TV and stuff like that because we didn't have cable. And none of what I remember watching back then was at least as entertaining. Also, we weep for the culture and the justice system watching Fani Willis's behavior. But on one instance, there is some support about Fani Willis and her hostility. Donald Trump comes out and says he's innocent, and that's, the end of the world. It just seems as though the media has pushed this in such a charged way that they certainly aren't fair on this issue either.
Yeah, and remember that it should be the reverse, because also Fani Willis is a prosecutor, and she has heightened ethical duties when it comes to her public statements. There's a Georgia ethical rule, Rule 3.8, that talks about how prosecutors have a heightened duty to not say anything in public that will increase public condemnation of the accused, right? The reason being that they're supposed to not taint the jury pool, not indicate to potential jurors that, they have external evidence of their guilt, et cetera, and not lead to, the idea is that they're not supposed to create a situation where someone will be wrongly convicted. And Jack Smith does a much better job on this particular point. For example, you never hear Jack Smith talking in public except for when he announces an indictment. And when he announces the indictment, it's a 90-second speech and it's over, right? Smith is very careful not to violate this rule, whereas Fani Willis will just take every media appearance they gave her. She literally invited an author and they wrote a book based on her own internal deliberations about who to charge. It's ridiculous. And
it's almost like Fani Willis is doing this for Fani Willis.
Yes, very, very clearly. I mean, will also be the whole hiring her boyfriend and paying him by the hour as a prosecutor. You know, that it's a very unusual arrangement to have a prosecutor billing by the hour. And then, so no wonder the case was so complicated and would be needed to go on for multiple years.
Yeah.
It's almost like the guy could extend his billing indefinitely. She would get more vacations out of it. Weird, you know, it's strange how that works.
Will, before we let you go, was today a good day for Donald Trump and his legal team?
Yeah, I think you couldn't guarantee that the bond would be reduced, and a serious 60% reduction in the size of the bond is a W. It's not it's not the biggest W ever, but the Trump team is probably a lot happier today than they were yesterday in terms of where they are in their cases. So today has to be seen as a win.
Yeah, won the battle, not quite the war yet, but that will continue on. I don't know. I suspect till November, maybe. We'll see. Will Chamberlain, Thank you for being with us today. It's an honor to have you on the show.
Yep, thank you.
Of course. Will Chamberlain is a senior counsel at the Article 3 Project, on X at Will Chamberlain and article3project.org. Love having his voice and expertise here on the Annie Frey Show. Let's take a quick break. The YouTube live chat poll is a little converse of one that we asked last week, and I remember seeing just a few people suggest, this is what you should ask this question. So here we are. Is there a policy of your affiliated political party that you completely disagree with? Yes or no? Come to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, leave us your vote there, and then if you will, please leave us a comment and tell us why you voted yes or no, and we will read some of those when we come back, and Brad and I will give an answer to this question for ourselves. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
Flooring shopping is made easier at Michael's Flooring Outlet. Have you shopped igotfloored.com yet? Have you looked at all of the different options available to you at great value at Michael's Flooring Outlet? I hope you have. If you haven't yet, it's easy to go to igotfloored.com. You can request an estimate directly from the website, but you can also visit them in any of their 3 opportunities of locations across St. Louis. In St. Charles County on Main Street in Old Town St. Peters at Mid Rivers and Highway 70. Michael's Flooring Outlet also in West County on Olive Boulevard, just a mile off 270 West on Olive. Michael's Flooring Outlet also in Darting Prairie. You can find all those locations listed at igotfloored.com. And you can also learn about their products. So if you know you're going carpet, maybe you want to research a little bit more about the Mohawk Smart Strand line that they have. Top quality carpeting to replace that old, worn, carpet that you have in your house right now. You might want to check that out. If you're looking for a hardwood product, the TechWood Plus is very highly recommended, or something else. Whatever you're looking for when it comes to flooring, go to the experts who pair quality and value. You never have to sacrifice customer service when you go shop at Michael's Flooring Outlet either. It's all online at igotfloored.com.
Okay, so you filed your taxes this year, but you know you have past IRS issues. And now the IRS letters are coming. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. Don't ignore those IRS letters. They're important and give you rights and deadlines to defend yourself. Waiting could cause you to lose those rights. Call the Lance Story Law Firm now and let us help you get ahead of the IRS and defend your rights while you still have time. The Lance Story Law Firm is located here in St. Louis, so take the first step and hire a tax resolution attorney. We've made it super easy to schedule your free consultation in person, or you can do a phone call and save travel time. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm. Call today at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Take your slow, unreliable internet and throw it out by signing up with i3 Broadband. i3 provides 100% fiber internet, giving you amazing speeds of up to 8 gig download and upload. You never have to worry about bad weather knocking your internet out. Their fiber optic technology ensures insanely fast performance, rain or shine, and they won't lock you into a contract. They believe in transparency and performance. No annual contracts, no installation fees, and no activation fees. All the details, i3broadband.com.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house, and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo, because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. The brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco. They can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years, Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darren today and schedule your free estimate. 877-25-RHINO, easy to remember phone number, or go online today at 877-25-RHINO.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
Are you tired of feeling sick and tired? I'm Dr. Nick Barnes of Health from Within Family Chiropractic. Our simple 5-step approach aligns your health naturally. We correct spinal abnormalities to maximize nerve supply, focus on pure and simple nutrition, exercise and oxygen, mindset, and minimizing toxins in your body. Transform your health today with Health from Within, conveniently located on Manchester in Rock Hill or online at healthfromwithinstl.com.
Hey, Trisha's going to be joining us in the 2 o'clock hour. You're not going to want to miss it. So the time is 1:51. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
You found 97.1 FM Talk, where we ask questions, even when the legacy media won't. Especially when the legacy media won't.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. The YouTube live chat poll: is there a policy of your affiliated political party that you completely disagree with? Yes or no? I want to get to some of the comments here from folks who are. I also saw a significant consistency in replies that people were giving us today. So if you go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, the poll is in the live chat section of today's live broadcast on YouTube. That's where you vote. I know it's kind of complicated, but once you find it, you can do it every day. Vicky says, unlimited money to Ukraine with no accountability. Betsy says, poll, yes, not sure if it's a policy, but sick of Republicans throwing everything for America and its people under the bus and letting Democrats destroy this great nation. I don't know if that's a policy as much as it is like a ideology, but I see what you're saying there. Wolf said, yes, money going for wars we can't trace. Chris says, yes, any policies the Republicans are voting with the Democrats, a.k.a. the Uniparty or rhinos. Paul says, I don't like how anti-union the GOP is these days. In general, they seem to be anti-workers' rights and pro-elite. I don't know if I agree with that.
I wouldn't agree. I would say that they're not like super pro-union, but they're definitely pro-workers.
But The unions are pro-union and not pro-worker.
Right.
That's the
right.
problem.
And I think that's why the Republican Party is the way it is towards unions, because unions don't actually help the people.
But interesting, Paul. Thank you for that comment. Josh says, okay, I don't know if that's what that's about. Sorry about that. Chris says, Paul, I said yes. I feel if you agree 100% with anything, you're not thinking for yourself. A lot of people saying that they don't agree with the money that's going to wars that is untraceable. And I think that that's an interesting layer in that comment about money going to wars. I am not opposed to money that comes out of our pockets going to weaken common enemies overseas, but I want to know where that money is going, or I want it to be able to be known. I want the people who are spending the money to know where the money is going. I want to be able to look up and be able to tell where billions of dollars that we have sent overseas is going to improve American interests. You can improve the interests of other people while simultaneously investing in American interests. And to think that you would just take everything and bring it home to our shores and not invest anywhere ever again with an American taxpayer, I'm not an isolationist like that. But it's beyond me how we could invest so much money all across the world. I mean, the amounts of money, people are like, oh, stop sending money to Ukraine. I do not want any more money to go to Ukraine if we don't know where it's going to or what it's going for. If it's going to pay the salaries of bureaucrats there, bologna sausage. But at the same time, we're sending money to countries that you may have never heard of before. And, is it good? Is it for good American interests? I don't really think that is usually the measuring stick by which we send our taxpayer dollars. And if you haven't looked already, we don't have extra dollars to send. So if we're going to be spending the money, I'm not opposed to spending the money. There needs to be something behind it that says, yes, that's a good expenditure. Brad, what do you think?
Yeah, you mentioned the word. I was going to say that I don't know that there's really a whole across the party movement toward this, but I do know that there's a movement within the party towards isolationism. I don't support that. I definitely think that there is American interest abroad and that we need to be having our thumb on the pulse of all that stuff, and we need to be leading the world, with you on the idea that we need to know where the money's going, for sure. The other one that I have here is the aversion to a culture war. Now, this is on the other end of the Republican spectrum. I think that there's a bunch of people out there that say the Republican Party should just be about lower taxes and, fiscal responsibility, and that's it, and just don't talk about any of the other things and run on that. I don't think that's a winning strategy either. I think that we do need to take the lead in the culture war because culture or politics is downstream from the culture.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I don't usually the Republican Party seems to have a soul about things, and I think they're still questioning exactly where the boundaries are of that. Come vote. Let us know. Is there a policy of your affiliated political party that you completely disagree with? Yes or no? We'll be right back.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Stewart's American Mortgage is the bagel loan, and you've heard about the bagel loan before, but I want to remind you it's only at Stewart's American Mortgage. Smart move when you are looking to acquire a mortgage, or if you want to lower the rate of your current mortgage, or if you want to do a refinance. All really smart reasons to call 314 324-4440, 314-324-4440, and start the conversation with Stewie. He is a national leader when it comes to dealing with mortgages with people just like you, and he's right here. He runs his operation like a small business, and his success is squarely based around his mentality of doing business the right way. I am a 2-time customer of the Bagel Loan myself, and if I ever need to acquire another mortgage, I know exactly where I'm going. The Bagel Loan means you don't pay any closing costs that other lenders out there are going to charge you for. So contact Stewie at 314-324-4440. You can Google the Bagel Loan to find out more information if you need it. NMLS number 226715.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers Get Jim.com studio, 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
A reprieve in court. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Former President Trump can avoid having assets seized, at least for now, as a New York appeals court lowers the bond required to appeal a civil fraud case from more than $450 million to $175 million. The former president telling reporters he respects the appellate division while railing against the many cases he's facing.
It's a shame what's happening to our country. This is election interference. They are doing things that have never been done in this country before.
Also today, a judge ruling the first criminal trial of the former president can move forward next month.
Judge Juan Merchant says the trial on charges the former president falsified business records to conceal an extramarital affair will begin April 15th. The start had been delayed recently because new documents were introduced as part of the case.
Fox's Gernal Scott. The White House denies any change of position after allowing a UN Security Council call for a ceasefire in Gaza to pass by not vetoing it. National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby says the U.S. still has Israel's back.
We are still providing tools and capabilities, weapon systems, so that Israel can defend itself against which we agree is still a viable threat to Hamas. Again, no change by this non-binding resolution on what Israel can or cannot do in terms of defending itself.
Prime Minister Netanyahu deciding not to send a senior delegation to Washington this week as planned. The U.S. charging hackers linked to the Chinese government with cyber attacks on U.S. lawmakers and companies.
The Justice Department says 7 Chinese nationals who are part of a hacking group called APT-31 have been charged with conspiracy to commit computer intrusions and conspiracy to commit wire fraud, alleging over the past 14 years they've targeted U.S. companies, government, and political figures, sending over 10,000 emails with hidden tracking links that, when opened, compromise the recipient's devices and networks.
Fox's Christian Goodwin. America is listening to Fox News.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Tax Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. This tax season, you get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a new Samsung Galaxy A15 for just $99. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah! Good talk.
Switch to Straight Talk for plans starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. In-store activation on single Silver Unlimited plan or higher required. Family plan discount with 4 lines all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Periods of rain and a couple of thunderstorms, but nothing severe this afternoon. However, there will be some heavy downpours. Could gust 45 to 50 miles per hour, 62 for the high. Then tonight, periods of rain, a couple of rumbles up until about midnight. Gusty winds all night long, 45 for the low. Tuesday, plenty of sunshine, cool day, 55, and a frosty 29 Tuesday night. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Now is a great time to start planning your next outdoor project with my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Mark Cox here. You know, they're in their 56th year of business in the region. This is a locally owned and operated company since 1968. And Chesterfield Fence and Deck has such great options for you for your fence, for your decking. They've got regular wood, right? Natural cedar decks, and they've got Vecadeck vinyl decking, and they got a brand new color available this year. It's pewter. It's a gorgeous gray color that has beautiful variation throughout it for more of a natural look. Of course, they do custom sunrooms and screen rooms and pergolas and patios. You name it, they can do it for you at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. If you need inspiration, call them up, go to their website, ChesterfieldFence.com, or visit their showroom in the Valley. Mention my name, Mark Cox, and get a special discount for 48 months interest-free financing for February or March. Go online to ChesterfieldFence.com.
Air Comfort Service, they're online at aircomfortservice.com, and I am so grateful that they are partners with me on this show to help make this show be possible, because they have also been in my home to service my home when my air conditioner went out, when my furnace went out. This didn't all happen at the same time. But it was a kind of crappy couple years, and Air Comfort Service came in and made it so that we could stay in our comfort zone through giving us options. And that's one of the things that I appreciate about them so much. They told us, here are the products that are available to you. Here's the cost investment for this, 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 and this. If you want to replace the unit or if you want to repair the unit that you have right now, it would cost this much. And then we felt like we were in a good position to be able to make a decision based on the investment that we're making. It's a big investment into your home. I trust Air Comfort Service in my home. I've had them back many times. They've done an aero sealed duct sealing throughout the entire course of my house to make sure that the air that's pumped into the second floor where our bedrooms are is equal to the air that's being pumped in everywhere else. So it heats and cools more evenly, which means we don't have to run our system more than we should have to. They are my go-to, and I hope that if you have an HVAC need for yourself or for a loved one, that you'll call them at 314-513-0091 or visit them online at aircomfortservice.com.
When you're selling your home, you want the most money and the least hassle. That's exactly what you get when you work with my friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Mark Cox here. Selling your home is one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. That's why having an expert on your side is crucial. Right now, other agents know that some sellers will choose the agent that tells them the highest price. This can be a dangerous strategy. Most of the time, it ends up being an empty promise. Gloria doesn't make empty promises. She makes guarantees in writing. It's simple. Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed-to price and time frame, or she'll buy it. Guaranteed in writing. Take it from me. Pick up the phone and call Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit her online anytime and tell her you heard Mark Cox talking about it. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Pluto TV won't cost you a thing because everything is free. So if you want to watch Braveheart, Mean Girls, or The Price is Right, well, The Price is Right. It's free. Just download the app, which, by the way, is free. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
Jeff Lynn's ELO is coming to St. Louis, and the Mark Cox Morning Show is giving away tickets. We'd love to send you for free. Listen between 5 and 9 for us to tell you when to call.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is sponsored by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right? You need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio. I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Had a kind of legal heavy first 2 hours here, thanks to the reaction to Donald Trump on two legal fronts earlier today. The judgment, the bond that he had to post was originally $454 million. That is funny money to me. I can't even imagine $454 million. But he got that reduced to just a cool $175 million. It's still a lot of money, but a weird win for the Trump legal team there. And so they will appeal it. He's got the cash to do it. And on the hush money trial, because Stormy Daniels is still a thing on your 2024 bingo card, that trial, they tried to get postponed or delayed, I should say. And it's not going to be. So April 15th. April's going to be quite a month for the Trump legal situation. We had Will Sharf in the 12 o'clock hour, and he was talking about how April 25th, which is a Thursday, is when the Trump legal team goes to the Supreme Court to argue immunity, which will have an enormous impact on everything else that comes after the Supreme Court's ruling after that argument. And that ruling could be as late as the end of June. So hold on tight. We are also having an election year, but it almost seems like we're living in parallel worlds with Joe Biden ruining the country and the justice system trying to ruin Donald Trump. There are some polls out here that I want to talk about. And we got Trisha in here, and I know Trisha is always just scouring over political polls.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ironic.
Call me Ryan Wiggins.
I said to Brad right before the show started, I was like, hey, can Trisha come in and hang out with us this afternoon? So he went and asked, and you said yes.
Yes.
So thank
yes,
you.
I did. No, he drugged me in here.
Ryan
kicking and screaming.
Ryan is still in Japan, and he's still enjoying his time there. He'll be back. He's supposed to be back on Friday.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Everyone is skeptical. I was in a meeting this morning with Tina Spivey, who does our traffic. She's like, he's not coming back Friday.
Do we know when he gets back in?
Somebody said Thursday.
No freaking way.
Right.
I should stop saying that because he's going to be like, well, they don't think I'm going to be there anyway. Although I kind of want Ryan to come in and do the show when his body is adjusted to that being 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm. Steve said we should text him and tell him he has to host the show on Friday. You still come in, but just like tell him he has to be here so he drags himself in.
Okay.
Either way.
He can host. I would sit in the front row and just hand him oatmeal cream pies until we get the show done. He'll say everything he needs to say in about 10 minutes, and then we'll have 2 hours and 50 minutes left
him
to go.
Snoring, drooling a little on the live stream.
Ryan loves polls. I don't love polls, but I do watch them. What are you thinking about polls these days?
Polls have been more accurate as of late. I still say polls are persuasive tools, not predictive tools. They're there to show the result of the person that commissioned them. But some of these places that are commissioning these polls that are putting Donald Trump out front, I don't see the advantage of them having Donald Trump out front because, I mean, he is the presumptive nominee now. My expectation was if they were flubbing the polls to make sure that he get it, that they would start switching by now, and they're not. They still got him up. They got him up by some small margins, but he's up in like the swing states and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, okay, maybe there's something to this.
Interactive Polls, which is described on their Twitter profile as polling and prediction markets aggregator. So I think that they're taking the sum of what is out there, which I guess is kind of better. Sorry, I'm not like
and sometimes
super advocating for what I'm about to talk to you about
but
here.
Sometimes they just grab
right.
they grab individual polls and post those as well.
2024. This one was tweeted at 9 o'clock this morning. Very fresh. 2024 general election. If Trump is convicted of crimes related to his handling of classified presidential documents, Trump is still up +8. 54-46. That's a conviction. So that's worst case scenario outcome for Donald Trump. He's convicted. +8. Trump.
We are living in the weirdest time.
We are. If Trump is convicted for inciting the Capitol riots of January 6th, who would you vote for? 50-50. That's the one.
That actually kind of surprises me. I would have thought he would be up more in a poll like that there would be more people that would say.
Like the January 6th supporters?
Yeah. There would be more people that called that a sham and voted more strongly for him.
That seems to be the thing that most people are most angry about, though.
Well, it's I would say it's the most polarizing one.
Yeah.
Everybody has a thought and opinion, and they should on January 6th.
Yep.
It's a lot harder to you weren't watching the raid happen at Mar-a-Lago. You've probably not been to Mar-a-Lago. There's question over whether or not the documents that he should have had them. Joe Biden has had documents. I mean, that one looks super political and witch hunty. The January 6th one is just in everybody to their corners. Like, as soon as you say January 6th, everyone just separates and divides. And I think, a lot of the poll question today, is there a policy of your affiliated political party that you completely disagree with, yes or no? I think that there are a lot of Republican voters, active voters, who do not think that Donald Trump is an insurrectionist and incited what went on January 6th, but really don't like what happened at January 6th.
I think that's right.
And think that Donald Trump, he isn't responsible for it, but could have done more about it.
He didn't try to shut it down.
Yes. And, you could, I quickly would go to the peacefully and patriotically, march to the Capitol and the things that Donald Trump said that day. But if I ask myself, honestly, is there something Donald Trump could have said more, louder, quicker? I think the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
I also have a lot of questions as to how what happened that day came to be. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not really ready to have the square of the focus be on Donald Trump, to be like, he went up on stage, he told people to riot, they went and rioted, and he's an insurrectionist. That's bullcrap. Why is it that the people in the Justice Department can't say out loud, no, there were no feds in plain clothes that proceeded to move into the Capitol that day? Why can't they say that?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm asking my kids, if I'm asking my 7-year-old, did you eat all the candy out of the candy bowl? And they say, I did not eat the fruit that was in the fruit bowl. I'm like, you ate the freaking candy. They got chocolate all over their face.
Or them Reese's.
Yes. You can non-answer questions, and there are answers to questions. And if you wanted to unequivocally say, no, we didn't have any feds in plain clothes pushing people to go into the Capitol that day, you should say that. Mm-hmm. If that's the truth, you should quickly say that. And my perspective on that would be different. If you could say that it was a natural evolution of events that day that caused Trump supporters to break windows and doors and climb through and go into the public Capitol building and walk around.
Well, that was the thing too. There was still, I think the media the media narrative on it is so sensationalized. You look at some of the video and some of it is horrible. Some of it is fire and broken glass.
It would be scary to be in there.
Terrifying. But then other parts of it, it's literally a bunch of yahoos just taking pictures, walking down the hall.
Like, dude, we're in the Capitol.
Right.
Yeah.
So there has to almost be a distinction between the people that were kind of following the herd and not really trying to break the law, but we're just kind of like, oh, this is what we're doing today.
You can literally in this country right now go squat in someone's house, break in, squat in someone's house, and take it for your own. And they're like, that's their house now.
Change the locks. It is your house. You can't get kicked out.
If the January 6ers were in there for 30 days, would they then own the people's house?
Well, at least we pay taxes.
Not a recommendation.
At least we pay taxes on that house. You can go into somebody else's house that you're not paying taxes on and hang out.
Yeah, it's absurd. It's really what it is. I don't think that I will go as far to say this. I knew people in my life who were really wanting to go to the Capitol on January 6th, and I begged them not to go. I said, when I said I think something bad's going to happen to them, I had no idea.
Yeah. Like, wait a minute. Did you predict January 6th?
I did not know. I will answer it the way the feds did.
I did not eat the fruit.
I am not in a position to comment on that. No, I just thought this is a super tense moment. Emotions are so high that, you could go down there and there could be a riot. There could be a shooting. I mean, this has been happening all summer in 2020 in Washington, D.C. We watched as people were rioting like crazy and pushing back against the police, insulting, spitting on, attacking the people who are there to enforce law and order. I don't want my loved ones in that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if they would have gone and they would have been a part of moving into the Capitol at some point, I would have been frightened for them to be in there because I didn't know what was going to happen next. So I can't really look at the people who are in Congress or working in the building that day who might have been afraid of what was going to happen next and be like, well, that's ridiculous. They were just walking around taking selfies. It's a complicated issue.
Sure.
Nobody on the left and in that select committee, which, when people talk about Jim Jordan and him being subpoenaed to testify with the select committee, it was a select committee. It was a sham committee. He said that the validation of the committee that was subpoenaing him was incorrect. I think that's my understanding of it. Maybe I'm getting that wrong. But it wasn't a partisan committee. The Republicans said, we want to put these people on this committee. Rodney Davis was one of them. And Rodney Davis, immediately after that happened, the January 6th thing happened, he was on this show and he goes, I want to know what Nancy Pelosi did. I want to see Nancy Pelosi's emails and phone calls and text messages. Nancy Pelosi should have had the security in place, the Capitol Police in place to make sure something like this didn't happen. Did somebody request that more law enforcement would be there and present? Did Nancy Pelosi tell him no? Well, it turns out all that stuff was true. And Rodney Davis, who is a wonderful man and used to be my representative, got redistricted out of his other district because Illinois sucks. That's just the summation of it. I don't have time for that in this segment. He wanted to be on, or he was going to be put on this, and he was ready to take Nancy Pelosi to task. And Nancy Pelosi is in charge of the committee and was like, no. Give me one Liz Cheney and one, what's his name? He's the Adam Kinzinger. Let's get Adam Kinzinger from Illinois. Oh, it's the worst. How does this stuff happen? Not Rodney Davis from Illinois. Let's get Adam Kinzinger from Illinois. And so the rest is what it is. Why did they delete all of the stuff that they deleted after the J6 committee was done? I don't know. I do know. I'm pretty sure I know. It's ridiculous. And so when Donald Trump is going to be on trial in Washington, D.C., mind you, which is another Jack Smith case, when we were speaking with Will Chamberlain of the Article 3 Project, he was talking about how Jack Smith has been the anti-Fani Willis about just like, here's the next thing you need to know from a legal sense, and then he's gone. Fani Willis is the most dangerous place you can be is between her and a camera and a microphone because she's taking you down.
In her backwards dress.
So she can talk about herself. I think
strutting her stuff.
I still think the jury's out on that. I've seen 2 dresses, like the links to the dresses you can buy. One of them is, I think, an Adriana Papel dress.
Meant to zip up in the front?
And then another one was on Amazon. And the one on Amazon zips up in the front. And I'm like, I might zip up. That might be the way that dress is supposed to be. I don't know.
It looked a little backwards to me.
Yes.
I
just think that 50-50. If Trump is convicted for inciting the Capitol riots of January 6th, who would you vote for? 50-50 Trump. Here's my takeaway from this. It is amazing that 50% of the people would still vote for Trump. Because that means 50% of the people in America are like, BS. Like, even on a conviction, the Senate, the House impeached Trump for being responsible for inciting an insurrection. This is where people accidentally say the word erection. And I think that
I haven't heard that.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, all of them. Chuck Schumer did it.
Are they all doing that?
I think maybe I did it once. And if I said that on the air, I probably told Brad, you did not pull that. You make that go away. Chuck Schumer said it on the floor. He said inciting and
I missed
just
that.
the last half of insurrection.
Man, I had some interneting to do after this.
Oh man, it's wild because it is like clear as day when he says it too.
Maybe that's what he's doing to all the libs.
Ew. What is this show? It feels like a Friday now.
It wasn't like this until you got here. Just so you know, you sit in that Ryan Wiggins chair and everything starts to go south. No. Ryan Wiggins back on Friday. Or will he be? Man, that should be the poll on Thursday. Will Ryan Wiggins show up to earn the money that he's being paid on Friday? I want to pressure him. And he can host. Maybe he'll host it in Japanese. We'll see. Go vote in the YouTube live chat poll. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Jen Teskey with Remax Alliance. It was so great to have Jen Teskey in for X's and O's last weekend. Gosh, she is incredibly attentive to detail. She has built a really, really strong agency along with Remax Alliance. And if you are looking for the person to help shepherd you from, I think we're going to list our house, I think we need to sell our home, into sold for the expectations that you had laid out, Jen Teskey is the one that you want to choose. She has a dedicated team. She's going to give you honesty, but in a way that you are going to appreciate because she knows how to get the job done. And partnering with Remax Alliance gives you all of the resources and assets that you need to have a smooth, reputable home sale, or if you're looking to purchase, she will help you guide through that process as well. If you're interested in contacting Jen Teskey, T-E-S-K-E, Jen Teskey with Remax Alliance, you can call her or text her at 618-541-1010, 618-541-1010. Or you can also find her and all the details that I just explained by visiting her website. Just go to jenteskeyhomes.com.
Hey, it's Jim Costa from Cash the Ticket. Tourney time is here. Mike Valeni and I are going through every matchup of the big dance over on the podcast. We're talking sides, totals, mix in a reckless parlay every now and then. Come on, it's fun. We've got tourney trends, futures plays, who wins the national title, something for every bettor and every sports fan. Region by region, game by game, however you want to digest it, it's there. Download Cash the Ticket today. It's on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Surprise!
Surprise!
You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired. Like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
At Neovitin, our goal is to create safe, dependable multivitamins to support your everyday nutrition when you need it most. That's why Dr. Ribicki formulated Neovitin Original Formula Multivitamin with 20 daily ingredients, including B vitamins for energy support, vitamin C for immune support, and our 4-ingredient proprietary blend that you won't find in any other multivitamin. With a 4.8 out of 5-star rating on Trustpilot, you can be sure you are getting the highest quality nutritional support with Neovitin. And as always, a portion of the proceeds from the sale of Neovitin Original Formula Multivitamin are donated to the Ribicki Foundation to support pancreatic cancer research. That's nutritional support you can feel good about. Support your best life today with Neovitin Original Formula Multivitamin, available at your local Deerbergs, Schnucks, select independent pharmacies, and online with our easy-to-use monthly subscription at neovitin.com. That's Neovitin.com, neovitan.com.
I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. Come check out our new LaSalle display and our final phase of Inverness at Bryan and Feisey Road in Dardenne Prairie. We will build to order or select from one of our designer market homes ready to move in at substantial savings, including our luxurious former display home. This professionally decorated ranch is loaded with features and has over $100,000 in savings. Plus, get special financing starting in the 4s. Hurry to take advantage of these deals. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. ramp.com/free.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Odyssey.com is a universe of audio, and it's where you can download the app to stream 97.1 FM Talk. The Odyssey app. Download it today and stream anytime from anywhere.
Where St. Louis comes to talk.
97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
$1. In fact, no, brother man, here, have two. $2 means a snack for me, but it means a big deal to you. Be strong, serve God only. Know that if you do, beautiful heaven awaits. That's the poem I wrote for the first time. I saw a man with no clothes, no money, no plate, Mr. Wyndham. That's his name. No one ever knew his name because he's a.
All right, welcome back.
Twice about spending on an old.
We talked about a lot of heavy stuff today. I want to switch to something a lot more fun, talking about Gen Z. Man, I feel like I paid my dues. Like I've seen some things. I've been some places as a millennial for the last 10 years, just being told that I suck for existing.
Yeah, you lived a life and you've heard it all. You've heard the criticism.
You know, and I've said this before, and it bears repeating. The people who went overseas to fight in Iraq and Afghanistan and with whatever else materialized from them, regardless of how well the politicians did or did not handle that, we were attacked for like the second major time in our lifetime. Thousands of Americans died. And millennials are the ones who signed up and went and defended whatever they were told they were defending. When they signed up, they did that. Like, I know that this story isn't culminated the way World War II did, but the bravery that existed in those people who enlisted after 9/11, of whatever age. How many times did you hear people who had like been out of the service for 10 years and they're like, put me back in. Put me back in right now.
Police, fire, EMT, same deal.
Yeah.
Out of retirement.
It's not like it was only millennials, but it is the heart of millennials that did that and did so for their country, for love of country. And I commend them because they are my peers. And I wish I were as brave as them. So let's talk about Gen Z. I really actually kind of take the focus that is, it's always the focus for news stories like this is from Fortune magazine, but the focus is always on the generation that's coming into the workforce because it's like this zoo exhibit where you're like, oh, well, this is a new creature.
How are they going to act?
Yeah, now invading the wild place of the office. I can't do David Attenborough, but it's like young people come in, and I've said this as millennials when they were kind of crapping on us, like, Isn't this what every generation? I mean, isn't this more about being 20 than it is about being a millennial? Isn't this more about being a new adult than it is about the specific time that the new adult exists? But the details do change with each generation because the circumstances are a little bit different. I also think that some of the things that the new generation brings into are easy to poke fun at, but then if you like sat and thought about it for a while, you might go, that wouldn't be so bad. This is what Fortune's headline is. I wasn't built to work 9 to 5 every single day. These Gen Z bosses introduced slump hour, siestas, chilled one-to-ones, and flattened structures because they're tired of formal corporate customs. Do you think, Trisha, you work in management. Do you feel like, gosh, you started working with 97.1 in 2012.
Yep.
I measure that because she filled in my maternity leave for my kids.
I'm glad you do because it helps me remember.
Yeah. Did you? Well, you would have started this summer or spring?
I think my official start date's January, but I did an internship before, so I don't know where.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Because you were actually my fill-in. Like you had a paid job. The internship was credit, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe your internship would have been in the fall, but I don't know. The 9 to 5 thing in radio isn't. There are people who work 9 to 5, but there are less people in radio who work 9 to 5.
It's mostly not that here.
Yeah.
Would you say you work a 9 to 5?
Yeah, 8 to 4.
Shifted a little bit,
3,
depending on the day.
7. Yeah.
Brad, what are your hours?
All of them.
Sorry.
I'm 8:10 to about 4:30, 5 o'clock, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
This is a totally subjective thought, but I feel like Brad works the most normal office hours. I think that there's some work that producers can do out of the office, but Brad does a lot of his work in the office.
I don't have access to the files that I need to have access from anywhere but the office.
Yeah.
So if I'm not here, like I can do the video stuff from home because I have access to the video files and all that stuff, but anything audio wise, I would have to be in the office to do it.
I don't think that the ushering in of working from home 100% of the time from COVID is a productive way to continue on. But I do think that the marrying of everybody, even Sally and Sales. We don't have a Sally, do we? No. Even
Sally's ears perk up.
Sally's sitting there like,
like a prairie dog.
Even Sally in Sales, who has been doing her job successfully for 30 years and now has to do everything on Zoom and digitally and emails and Google Docs and slides. So, like, they, pre-COVID, could get away with saying, I don't do that stuff. Post-COVID, you had to, or you were not going to make money because you weren't going to be able to communicate with people. So everybody was thrust into this world where you had to get up with the technology of the time. And now I feel as though we're kind of past the wave of stories where we're talking about people needing to come back in the office. Like most places have kind of settled on where they want to be on that. Gen Z came to be, a lot of them lost their senior proms, lost a real understanding of what college had been before. I mean, there's so much that they missed out on, but they also got to see the benefits of the alternate reality that we lived in for a while. So I don't really blame them for not wanting to come in and sit at a job from 9 to 5. I don't know if naps is the solution, but I can tell you, especially when I was pregnant with several of my children, that I would take my lunch and go sit in the parking lot and take naps because I needed the naps.
Yeah. I'm not a napper or necessarily a luncher. I'd rather be an hour later or leave an hour earlier if I can. I don't know. There's something ingrained in our generation. Our generation probably is the last generation where there is a minimum 8-hour workday in my mind. If I don't work the 8 hours, I'll find a way to do it somewhere else. It's like, and it's probably something that's not super healthy psychologically. But I feel like I'm not accomplishing or checking the box or like living up to my potential if I'm not hitting the hour mark.
Do you feel like that's an outside pressure or an inside pressure on
Mostly
you?
Steve.
Mostly Steve insists. Like at exactly 8 hours, I text him and he's like, "You can do more."
Yeah. I need more from you, Trisha. What are you even doing around here?
Go for 9 or nothing. No, I think it's an internal pressure, but I think it's based on how we were raised with the school days and the regiments and the 9 to 5 coming into the workforce and.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but at the same time, I grew up watching my dad do his job, and he would leave before the sun was up and sometimes wouldn't get home until after the sun was down in the summer because he's a truck driver. And I maybe got to see him before I went to bed, and I don't work near that kind of hours.
Well, I mean, my dad retired as a police sergeant. He worked 12.
Well, that's different.
So I saw it too. I don't disagree with that. I don't know. There was something starting in this, in any kind of like big girl job where I thought there is a start time and there is a stop time. And if I'm going to leave before the stop time, I need permission to leave before the stop time. And if I'm going to take a lunch,
I do have that
there's
feeling.
There's a structure kind of thing that nobody, if you want to leave at 3, Brad, do you think you need to ask me about it? No.
No, but
in your mind, you're like, if I don't, you do have to ask
But
Steve.
like in my mind, in the way that I think about it is I'm being paid for the hours that I'm here. I'm not necessarily being paid for the work that I produce, but I'm being paid for the hours.
But that's not true.
No, you guys are really
opposite.
about you guys are really about like when you're done, go.
Yeah, go.
Get out of here.
I mean, there are a lot of days where I'm here from 11 to 3, and if I get here at 11, I'm doing pretty good. But then this is a huge shift in the way I approach my job. I used to get here between 9 and 9:30, and I would sit and watch the news and read and stuff like that here. It is so much easier for me to really prep for the show when I'm at home by myself. And I also have client meetings sometimes in the morning. So every morning could look a little bit different. But back to what Brad was saying, and you were saying, Trisha, it's like, you guys need me to do a good show. And if that means I can do a better show by preparing at home, nobody's ever like, Annie, what time did you start preparing this morning? Because the truth is I probably didn't stop preparing the night before until 2:30 in the morning. And I'm not billing anybody for those hours. There's a job that needs to be done, and it's up to me to determine how to do that job the best. I wonder how much the shift in generation, it seems like I think that Gen X and at least the first half of millennials have that push and pressure to like succeed, to achieve the most, and it's kind of a monetary measure, kind of a things measure. And I do think that maybe the second half of millennials and maybe Gen Zers are going to be less pushed to accomplish things that are based on that measuring stick and more about quality of life. Like, I think there are a lot of boomers who burnt the candle at both ends to try to achieve something that maybe once they actually arrived at it didn't make them as happy as they would have hoped that it would have. So I think that there's room for improvement there.
Yeah.
I also have seen however many TikTok videos on Twitter and Facebook, because that's where I watch TikTok, of Gen Z aged individuals lamenting over the fact that they're working a job and they can't afford basic things. So the cost of everything has gotten out of control. The amount of money that they would have to make in order to afford the price of what everything is right now, I just don't like. How does the Biden administration not see that as a huge problem? You can have a $15 minimum wage in the state of Illinois, but if you can't afford the rent, if you can't afford the cost of living, it doesn't matter how much the minimum wage is.
Yep.
And economists said this is what was coming. I do think that flexibility in the workplace is one of the best things that has come out of the awfulness that was COVID.
Yeah, it's like that. It's that point that meets where productivity and being reasonable and flexible meet, right? So if you were to stop doing a good show, or you were just like, I'm not doing the 2:00 hour anymore, it's like,
that's why I have Ryan Wiggins come in. He helps me through it.
Wait a minute,
I miss him.
Wait,
Yeah.
maybe we do. No, it would be like, Annie, maybe you should come in an hour earlier or stay an hour later or whatever. But you are a grown adult responsible for a product that you care about and a job you care about. And so you are trusted to do that thing. So as long as the flexibility comes along with integrity, I think it's a good thing.
I don't think you can go on as much of an office space power trip with social media these days. I just think that everybody has to be more accountable for their actions and their behaviors, because you can quickly put somebody on blast in such a magnificent way, should it catch the viral trend or whatever, that bosses who are out there and they're like at the door waiting for you to show up at 8:30, and if you're there at 8:32, they give you the little.
That is actually Steve.
Disappointed.
I've seen him sit at the lobby at 3:58 and watch people walk out. It's not 4 o'clock.
Holding his cup of coffee. If you could go back to your desk
Yeah.
and finish your job,
I'm
that'd
gonna
be
need
great.
2 more minutes of distinct
3:58, huh?
productivity from you. Does he really do that?
I did see it one time. I think it was a joke.
Yeah. I think that you need to have employers who invest in their employees and good employees who care about the product, the service, the good that you're supposed to be churning out. And the truth is that sometimes that means that you're sitting here when you work a 9 to 5 till 7 o'clock to get the job done. And good managers and good bosses appreciate that as much as they understand if you have to leave at 3 o'clock to get a kid from school one day or to, figure out what that flexibility and how to make that work so that people don't feel like they're constantly under the gun of a clock in and a clock out system. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I do struggle with the generation. I feel sorry for, or I have maybe empathy potentially for Gen Z when they are struggling trying to get jobs to make ends meet and they can't afford things. And this is coming from a girl who, after I completed my unpaid internship in sports talk radio, got my first call and offer for an extension of my unpaid internship. That
Lucky
was
you.
55 minutes away from my house, and gas was $4.50. And I was like really excited to accept that. I think I worked from mid-August till about mid-October for absolutely free.
Yep.
And then I got a part-time board op position. And I have to say that the dues that I paid, I don't regret saying yes to any of that. I mean, you legitimately can't even do that now. I think Obamacare changed how people can. It's like a slave labor law. But I mean, it was the name of the game, and everybody understood. Like, I understood it as an opportunity, and I took it as such, and I'm glad I did. So I do understand the paying your dues thing. I think that sometimes Gen Z might feel like they should be a little more comfortable without a little less, not pain inflicted, but it's going to be uncomfortable for a while before it's comfortable. Some dues to be paid.
It's frustrating. The economy thing's frustrating because it's uncomfortable for a lot of us that have already paid our dues and are in positions that should be comfortable, and they are. I mean, it's not. This isn't a dig at our employer in any way, shape, or form. But there are times when I'm looking at my paycheck, I'm like, you going to stretch? You going to get me through to the next grocery trip? Or, like I count it out and I'm like, can I go to dinner this weekend with my friends? I don't know,
Well, when inflation compounds year after year, even when inflation is going down, it's still compounded on top of what has existed before. And it costs so much to maintain the lifestyle that you had 4 years ago. That becomes frustrating. And then you put the burden on a company to pay more. And if they pay more, can they afford to pay more for everybody? No, not necessarily. It's complicated. Major domino effect. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get the results to today's YouTube live chat poll. Is there a policy of your affiliated political party that you completely disagree with? Yes or no? We've heard from a lot of people on the right who are very frustrated with the Republicans' willingness to continue to spend your tax dollars for zero accountability in places like Ukraine. We'll see if there are any other ones and see if there are any lefties that are on our YouTube live chat that disagree with their side's policies on anything as well. Annie Fry YouTube channel to vote, to comment. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Civilization. Are we really civilized? Yes or no? Who are we to judge? When thousands of innocent men can be brutally enslaved or killed over a racist grudge. Mr. Window has tried to warn us.
The Diamond Shop, they're in Clayton, easy to find, and a beautiful place to go in and shop. If you are looking for something special for a loved one, would you please consider going to the Diamond Shop and seeing what they have for you in store? It's just beautiful, beautiful pieces in there. I have a pearl necklace that my husband gave me in 2018. I had always wanted a real and beautiful strand of pearls, just kind of a classic thing to own, something that I can give down to one of my daughters one day, and he picked that out to give me for my birthday and actually the start of doing this show. And I cherish those pearls, and I know that I can always have them cleaned or taken care of at the Diamond Shop, because when you become a customer of the Diamond Shop, you are going to be able to go back there for cleaning. They do appraisals. They buy gold. They also do custom jewelry. So if you have a piece that is maybe a family heirloom or something that you've seen that you want to transform into something else, they are the go-to for that. They have 30% off all in-stock jewelry all March. We're getting close to the end of March already. Can you believe that? So if you're looking to make a purchase right now is a great time to go in and save. Plus an extra 10% off all in-stock aquamarine birthstone jewelry throughout the course of this month. Reach out to them online at thediamondshop.net and become a VIP. Easy to sign up there at thediamondshop.net.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And who doesn't want zero body odor? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 800 and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, free product of your choice, and ships free with code 800. LumeDeodorant.com, code 800 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. Love it or return it for free. That's LumeDeodorant.com, code 800.
The IRS definitely ramped up operations since the pandemic slowed them down, and activity only increases from here. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. If you're currently under audit or you haven't paid your taxes in the past, now's the time to call the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS has a published Taxpayer Bill of Rights, which says you have the right to retain legal representation. Because IRS problems are legal problems, and the Lance Story Law Firm focuses specifically on addressing IRS issues for our clients. It's all we do. We get out in front of the IRS, devise the best resolution plan, and work to make sure you're able to take advantage of every program you're qualified to receive. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure company, call the Lance Story Law Firm. We're local, located right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert. I feel like we should be there by now.
I'm just taking a little detour. I gotta fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're gonna be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes, I use it all the time, and I've made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the concert.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code CHEAP to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code CHEAP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code CHEAP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code CHEAP.
Tune in to the Home Improvement Show sponsored by Mosby Building Arts, Saturdays 12 to 1 p.m. on 97.1 for expert advice on remodeling, design, and construction. This live Q&A show begins at noon, or find podcasts at mosbybuildingarts.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
If you're looking for a senior living community, check out Hampton Manor of Wentzville. Mark Cox here. I just had an opportunity to visit Hampton Manor the other day, and again, what a beautiful spot it is. A brand new building, just had their grand opening. If you take a tour at Hampton Manor, they're going to treat you to lunch, courtesy of their private chef, Chef Scott, and the food out there is absolutely outstanding. It's convenient. Take Interstate 70 to the Lake St. Louis exit. It's about a quarter-mile north. Schedule online today at wentzvilleassistedliving.com.
Today's YouTube live chat poll of the day. Is there a policy of your affiliated political party that you completely disagree with? Yes or no? Go to the Annie Fry Show on YouTube to vote in that poll. The time is 2:52. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
It's getting you done.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
I'll soon be with you, my love.
Welcome back. So the YouTube live chat poll, we're going to give you the results to that in about 3 minutes from now. But before we do that, the huge congratulations to Trisha. Big, exciting news. Trisha's having a baby.
I'm having a baby.
Yay!
Yay!
So exciting.
Thank you.
22 weeks long? What are you?
24.
24 weeks long.
He's getting big.
24 weeks along is a big moment. There's an organ that is like 24 weeks in my mind is one of the landmark times that you can get past. I have a dear friend of mine who was born in 1983, and I think he was born at 24 weeks.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting into that territory where it's still too soon for this baby to be here. But if he did come, it's
medical advancements have definelly been.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's like the early 80s. He's old.
83.
I hope he's
dinosaur.
I hope he's listening. Yeah, that's exactly a year
was
older than me.
Born in 83.
Yeah, I know. Ryan's not here. I don't know where to put my old friend.
Hey, that makes me the old man, I guess.
Yeah, just by a smidge. So we've known this for some time, but
yeah, I found out, this is how long I've known this. I found out at 3 weeks.
Woo!
I didn't tell anybody for 12 weeks. I didn't tell my husband for 2 days, which was a very long 2 days.
Can I ask you why?
Yeah. So the line was so faint, and I thought, it's Thursday. I'm not going to say anything in case it's wrong. And
is
then
it one of those where you're sitting there and you're like, is that a line? It's like a line.
I called my girlfriend. I told my friend, and she's like, a line's a line, homegirl.
A line is a line.
I think that's a line. So I was going to tell Eddie on Friday, and then the Metallica concert was in town. And he's like,
Metallica. It's always Metallica.
I really want to go to this show. It's the biggest deal of my entire life. I'm like, you're right. That probably is the biggest deal of your entire life. I can't say anything before you go to the show. So I didn't tell him Friday night either. So I told him Saturday morning. So I sat on that news for 2 days.
Can you tell us how you told him?
Yeah, I just said, hey, it was first thing in the morning. I've got some kind of a big news to tell you. I'm pregnant. And he looked at me and he goes, congratulations. No. And then he left and went to the gym for 3 hours. And the next day he gets home, everything's fine. The next day we're talking and he's like, I know I played it super cool yesterday, but I'm kind of freaking out. I'm like, yeah, you were cool as a cucumber, man.
Yeah, that's incredibly natural for a first, maybe for subsequent ones as well. But it's so exciting. I've known you for a long time, 12 years, maybe a little bit more than that. I've known Eddie for a portion of those years, however long he's been around. So I've wanted to talk. I was like, not that this is about me, but can you make the announcement on my show? And you're like, Annie. And I'm like, okay, sorry, I overstepped. But that was a while ago. You put it out on social media. And We've been just so excited.
Thanks. We're excited too.
To support you and see you continue to grow.
Literally.
Due date?
July 16th.
July 16th. All right, I'm going to take a vacation in honor of your baby.
National holiday.
That's right. We'll talk more about that as the weeks go on. We're so happy for you. The YouTube live chat poll. Before we wrap it up here, is there a policy of your affiliated political party that you completely disagree with? 69% of you said yes, there is. So that's over 2/3 of you are doing some thinking for yourselves. I think that's a good thing. Thank you for voting, and stick around. The Mark Reardon Show coming up next on 97.1 FM Talk.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. RAMP.com/free.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally,